What's going on, all you movie lover badasses out there? Phat Samurai Guy is here with Lady Fat Blood, and welcome to our first podcast, the podcast called Verbal Nectar. That's right, the ridiculous name for the ridiculous podcast. That's right, where we talk about everything we love. We talk about movies, TV shows, whatever the fuck we want to talk about.
And we don't have to worry about how we look.
That's right, because right now I look really disgusting. I'm in my underwear, I'm half naked, and I don't think you guys want to see that right now.
I personally feel like shit. I felt like shit for the past 5 days.
Yes.
And frankly, I got zero fucks to give anymore.
That's right. But welcome to the podcast, where we're going to talk about whatever the fuck we want. And I think, before we get into movies, I think the point of the real podcast of today, the major nitty-gritty, because we have Creed 2 for you guys today. We have Halloween, Hereditary, Q, the Winged Serpent, The Exorcist 3, and that's what we're going to go over today. Maybe some more. Who knows where the podcast will lead us. You never know.
Was it really Q, the Winged Serpent?
Yes.
That was the full...
It's mostly Q.
Really?
That's it. But at the bottom of the poster it says Winged Serpent.
Because I thought on Amazon it said Winged Serpent.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's both.
Wow,
So
alright.
we're going to get into that, but I think the fuck all that. I think we need to talk about Pogs. Pogs from the 90s. That's what we should talk about today.
Pogs?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
The phenomenon of Pogs, they should bring it back.
You know what's funny? A funny story about Pogs. When I was in school in the 90s, I actually remember walking into a court during lunchtime and seeing a bunch of kids play this shit and trading. I'm like, already, and these are kids my age, already
Yes.
I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yes.
So I was doomed
Yes.
with society from the start. So.
Yes.
Just
And we're going to talk about the importance of Pogs for about 5 hours.
okay, yeah.
Because it's important.
And
I think they need to bring it back.
How it eased into the transition of Pokemon.
Yes.
Like all the whole gaming card industry.
Yes,
and then
this
how
is
that,
important.
Then that transitioned into fidget spinners, which
That's right.
Which is already dead.
Yeah, the fidget spinners.
You know, there are people that invested their whole life savings into selling fidget spinners.
That's
and
really
now
sad.
They're fucked.
That's sad.
Because they're not selling anymore.
That's really sad.
That's not really what we're talking about.
We're just fucking with ya. We're just fucking with ya. Come on.
We can be idiotic both verbally and visually.
Yes, it's fun. So before we start our Verbal Nectar Podcast, Episode 1, we have a sponsor, folks. We actually have a sponsor. And we'd like to give a shout out to our sponsor, Blaine Ventura Band-Aids. Because when life cuts you and you ain't got time to bleed, always use Blaine Ventura Band-Aids. That's right.
Wah,
So give it.
wah, wah.
You threw in the wah wah wah. It was just supposed to be the sponsor joke, and then we go into it. We're supposed to be serious.
Do you know how many people are gonna think we're being legit?
But that was the point. But you went the wah wah wah, and now we go. It's fine. That's our sponsor. All right. Blaine Ventura Band-Aids. All right, here we go. Number 1, Creed 2.
Oh, God.
Yes. If you have not seen it, I highly recommend that you guys watch our Rocky franchise video. Me and Retro Leo and Fat Ninja sit down and we go through each film leading up to Creed 2. And we talk about each movie, what was good, the bad, and the ugly. And we discuss our favorites in the franchise. So make sure you guys check that out if you haven't already. But leading up to it, let's just, before we go into Creed 2, let's briefly talk about Creed 1. We did review that on the channel a couple of years back. And that movie should have sucked.
I like Rocky Balboa. Should have sucked.
Yeah, Rocky Balboa should have sucked, but that was really good. And Creed 1, I thought, was the dumbest, stupidest spin-off idea ever.
Yeah.
I was like, this is terrible.
It didn't make a lot of sense in that why does Creed suddenly have a kid this age when we already knew he had kids that were a certain age in the previously established films, but obviously they worked around it and come to find out that Creed was an asshole who cheated on his wife and had a kid that he wasn't supposed to have, but hey, what are you gonna do? That's life for you.
Yeah.
And he's had this turbulent upbringing, kind of.
Yeah.
But for some reason, and I know they kind of explain it, but for some reason, Creed's actual wife, like, takes care of the kid. Like, she takes him in and she raises him.
Right.
I honestly don't remember why, but I know it's in the first film.
Right.
Because, most people wouldn't do that. Like, in real life, most people are...
Well, it's
probably the whole thing where...
She's got a good heart. She cares for him.
Yeah, probably the whole, my husband was an asshole and he cheated on me, but, this is still part of him, so I'm assuming that's probably half the explanation.
Right.
Again, I haven't seen that film since we first saw it.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a chance to re-watch it like I wanted to before we went into Creed 2, but we did highly recommend the first Creed in our review, and we really enjoyed it. And it definitely took us by surprise. Stallone was amazing in it. Definitely deserved to be nominated. And for his performance. And it was just really, really great. And Ryan Coogler, I believe, was the director. He went off to do Black Panther and other films as well. I can't wait to see what he's got in store for us, because he's a really good director. I do enjoy his work, but he did a really good job bringing it back, bringing the nostalgia feels back. It's from the Rocky franchise in that. And it was sad, it was powerful, the boxing sequences were filmed really well, they were really well done. And it was just great, and it brought a smile to my face, and it made me even happier to be a fan of the Rocky franchise, So Creed, we definitely highly recommend that. Now, when we heard rumors of Creed 2 coming out, and I was nervous, I'll be honest. I did a little Talking Movies video, like, way back, because I heard word of it, and I was just like, I don't know if this is good or not. I don't know if this, fighting Ivan Drago's son, is this going to be cheesy,
There were a couple of reasons that could have gone horribly wrong.
Yeah, I had concerns.
The first being, as much as you love Rocky IV,
yes,
that is the cheesiest of all the original. Would you say that that's the most 80s driven, like, just, we got the Russians, it's America versus Russians, if I could change, you can change, everyone. I mean, let me put it this way, in my mind, that is the cheesiest of the franchise.
Yeah.
Like, that is the one where it's like, okay, you got the cheesy Hearts on Fire montage.
It's iconic, though. The soundtrack's iconic.
I know that, but it's still, would you say it's the cheesiest? Would you say it?
Rocky V, go for it.
You think so?
I don't know. CNC Music Factory?
Ooh.
I don't know. It's debatable.
Interesting.
There is cheese element there, but it is iconic.
You have one of the cheesiest yet most fantastically hilarious scenes, Living in America, with the flash and like the pomp and circumstance.
But it's iconic.
I know. I'm not saying I don't enjoy the hell out of it.
Yeah.
But that was one of the reasons.
It has its cheese. Yes.
That was one of the reasons this could have gone so horribly wrong, in my opinion, because when you have a movie like Rocky Balboa and then Creed bringing it back to that serious level, and then you take an element from one of the cheesiest films,
right, and
you try to bring that in, how is that going to mix?
Right.
Well, you've got your already serious straight-laced story,
grounded,
taking the whole Ivan Drago
5,000-pound punch.
Exactly. Steroid commentary and all that. How is that going to mix with such a serious modern-day tale? Right. And surprisingly enough, they pulled it off very well, I thought.
I was very surprised. And you know what's interesting about this film? If you guys don't want to hear spoilers, we highly recommend the movie. We were really entertained by it. We highly recommend that you guys go out and see the film. There you go. Now we're going to talk about spoilers.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think it's been a while. It's respectful amount of time.
We were kind of very surprised with this one because it's still in the Rocky universe, the Rocky franchise universe, but it still felt, like you said, grounded. Mm-hmm. Even though Ivan Drago's there, you have his son Victor Drago, mm-hmm. and it still felt the same as Creed. There was emotion in it. There was really good acting in this.
I think it was handled very respectfully.
Yes.
Very artfully. I don't know if that's probably not a good word.
Yeah,
anyway,
it didn't feel cheesy to me.
No, I was really surprised by how well they handled Ivan's fall from grace.
Yes.
His motivations. I'm not gonna lie. I'm probably reading too much into this, but I did feel a little sorry for him.
Yeah,
and Victor,
I did too.
Victor too. His son.
Yeah.
He was not a one-dimensional character. You had this pull. You could tell that his dad was the driving force in his life and his boxing career, and not necessarily always going in the direction that Victor wanted to go. And you could see Victor kind of questioning, like behind his eyes. You could kind of see him questioning why he was doing things. Maybe was he going too far? There was this really great scene where you get this cameo from the one and only Brigitte Nielsen.
Yeah, we were we saw this in the theater with Cranky Critic, and Cranky Critic just turned to us. He was like, "Wow." In the theater, because we were not expecting her to come in. Yeah,
you saw a photo of her with the baby.
Yeah.
And presumably... see, that's the thing. It was never established in Rocky IV that they'd already had a kid.
Right. They were married.
But they did insinuate that not long after his defeat, she bounced. Like, she got the fuck out of Dodge. Yeah. She married up higher. She left Drago flat on his ass. She left the kid. So you could either assume that, like, she had it right before Rocky IV, or maybe a little after, and then she's like, "Fuck this shit, I'm out." I don't know, but it kind of seemed like maybe Victor knew her a little bit, but by the time he sees her again as an adult, he's like, "Who the fuck is this?"
That's one of the best scenes in the film.
Really good acting performance from this guy I've never seen. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Florian Montino. I don't know how to pronounce it. It looks like he's Romanian.
Yeah, but it wasn't just Brigitte that left him. The whole country abandoned him.
No, absolutely.
He was a disgrace to Russia, losing to Rocky in Rocky IV.
Yeah.
And all these years later, they just said, "Fuck this guy. You're a joke."
And it seemed like Ivan's been trying to get into their good graces ever since, and he's been using Victor to do that.
Yeah, he's definitely living through the eyes of his son all over again. Yeah. Trying to regain that glory. He keeps telling his son, look, they're disrespecting us. They don't care about us. Listen to them now. They're cheering your name. Isn't that great? Oh, look at this. They're doing this for us. This for you, for you, for you, for you. But he's really thinking about himself.
Yeah.
He's really thinking about himself. And in that table sequence where you were talking about when they surprisingly bring in Brigitte. She comes in and sits down. I'm glad she didn't really have any dialogue.
Yeah.
That could have gone sour.
Yeah. She just had a little bit.
Yeah. And she came in, right. And she came in and sat down, and Victor gets up and freaks the fuck out and leaves, and Dolph goes after him, and he's like, "Look, all these people are in here for us. They're trying to help us. Come on." And he's like, and Victor's like, "Hey, you're the one saying that they've abandoned us. They've abandoned you. What are you talking about right now? That lady in there that's supposed to be our mother? I don't know that woman."
Yeah.
And he's freaking the fuck out. He's full of emotions. Really great scene.
And that was, I think a lot of probably what's going to come to be some overlooked performances went down in this film from everybody.
Yeah, especially from Dolph.
From Dolph, from the guy who played Victor, even, of course, Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan, the worst thing I've ever seen him in was in Fantastic Four, and I'm going to tell you this right now, nobody could have salvaged that. So I don't even count that against him.
That's not his fault.
I do not count that film again. Nobody could have done anything with the material in that film. But so far, he's never turned in a shitty, like, I have no fucks to give performance. Like I said, I don't count Fan Four Stick against him. You say he was great in the first movie. He's great in this one.
He's better in this one.
Yeah. Tessa, I don't mind her.
Yeah, she's fine.
She has
plays the part.
Yeah, she has her own quirks. She was a little abrasive in the first movie. She's a little not so much in this one. They had the obligatory where you have to progress the story subplot where they have a kid, obviously, and I was kind of wondering why and where they were going with it, but for some reason, because Tessa's character has the problem with her ears, and one day she's probably most likely going to go completely deaf.
Right.
When they find out they're going to have a kid, they start to worry that the kid's going to have the issue, and of course when the baby's born, it does. And you have this really interesting moment between the two of them when they realize that the daughter can't hear, and they both just start like really silently crying, like they're not openly weeping, but they're just crying, you know, like just tears, like a couple of tears. It was a really good scene, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, where exactly is this going? Because in the end, the kid ends up with hearing aids, and it's like, you guys are gonna love the kid anyway. You're gonna. Tessa already knows sign language. It's like, is this really that big of a hurdle that we need to be focusing on emotionally? That's why
Rocky came in there and said what he said. And he's like, are you going to love her any less?
Yeah, and I was thinking this whole time, why are they making this a big deal? My thing is, and this is just my point of view, when you have genetic issues as a human being, and you choose to have children, chances are you're going to pass that on to your children. So why are you surprised? That was my thing. And that's probably too logical for me to be sitting there in the middle of a Rocky franchise film.
Yeah. They just didn't want it to happen.
But I'm thinking, you're going to pass it on to your... Why are you even thinking, oh my God, what if this... No, chances are you know it's going to happen.
Right.
Why are you making this a thing? But again, that's just me. That was just my little forays into
They just had their fingers crossed. They were hoping it.
I get it. And in the end, it was not even an issue because, again, she had the hearing aid. She was fine. Blah blah blah.
Tessa's fine. She's a very solid actress. We haven't seen her in anything where she sucked.
We haven't seen her in too much as it is, but so far
she's been fun.
Yeah.
But the character's music still sucks.
Oh my God. Sweetheart.
We're not talking about the actress. We're talking about the character.
God.
The character's music sucks.
Jesus.
It sucked in the first Creed. It still sucks in this one.
And I was...
The fuck was that?
I was trying
in the club. What was that?
I was trying to not cringe when she came out, when Creed came out to fist.
Because it was supposed to be a moment.
Yeah, so I was trying not to cringe too hard because on paper...
It's all right.
On paper, that's kind of a cool thing. I'm singing for my husband because I support him and all that.
Yeah.
And I got it, but it's still horrible music. It's terrible. It's unfortunate.
So
we are a couple of metalheads.
No. I love hip hop. All right. We like all kinds of music.
Yeah,
all right?
it's true. But if it's
bad, it's bad. There's bad metal out there.
Oh God.
Yeah. So anyway.
Gates.
Oh God.
Yes. Now you gotta throw up a picture of that. Link in the description below.
Gates.
Link in the description below. Share it. Share it. Let them know. Let the people know.
Fine. We will share that horrible greatness. But yeah, so in the story, the plot, we have a promoter. At this point in Adonis Creed's career, he has become champion. He has the title.
There's another reason why this film should have been a disaster.
Oh, okay.
Because at first, as you were explaining just now in the plot, it was looking like it was going to be a retread of Rocky 3 for a while, with shades of Rocky 4.
Yes. It did feel formulaic at times.
And it did feel like I was sitting there in the theater.
You were concerned, huh?
I was.
That it's just going to be another repeat.
It was just going to be...
like Rocky 3.
It was just going to be just like Rocky 3, except shades of Rocky 4 because of the plot.
Right.
With the Ivan and Victor.
Right.
But they did manage to make it its own thing, which I was very happy with that.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the
plot.
So
he wins the title. And then the promoter's like, ooh, Victor, ooh, making noise over there in Mother Russia, knocking fools out. So he's like, hey, we got a story here.
Yes. Making commentary about how that's what sports entertainment's all about now.
Right.
Which, to a degree, he's right. Yeah. It's accurate.
Yeah.
If Chuck and Tito... the Chuck and Tito fight.
We don't want to mention the Chuck and Tito fight. We're not going to.
It's all about the story, isn't it? The story and the money. Story makes the money.
Yeah, I would choose Tyson Fury versus Wilder. Probably better.
Well, of course, but I'm just.
But yeah, Chuck and Tito, that was just cash grab. There was no story.
Well.
Two old dudes.
Just because they had previous encounters.
I guess. No, you're right. I guess so. If you look at it that way, but yeah, he puts it together. He's like, ooh, money.
Money.
And Adonis Creed obviously accepts the challenge. Felicia Rashad, his stepmother.
In a way.
Yeah, in a way. We're just going to call her his mother.
Yeah.
Because she's basically his mom anyway.
In this film, he calls
her mother.
Yeah,
so. She's just like, I really thought she was gonna freak out.
Yeah.
I thought she was gonna be like, "Are you kidding me? Your dad got killed in the ring in front of me by that boy's father, and you want to fight this boy? Yeah. Like, are you really?"
I did enjoy her. I enjoyed her quiet mother anger.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that aspect of her performance.
Yeah, she was just like, "You're gonna do what you want to do.
Yeah.
You're a grown man.
Yeah.
Make your own decisions." I was like, "Wow." And he takes the fight. He wants Rocky to train him. And Rocky, he's like, I can't.
And he recognizes why.
Yeah.
Because it's basically not only him and Victor again, but him and, you could say him and Mr. T, because at this point, Adonis is at that point where he's kind of civilized.
A little bit.
You've got the hungry up-and-comer who's got this, he's got nothing to lose in Victor Drago, and Rocky's just like, oh God.
Living in the slums, just like doing odd jobs, just living in poverty. And I love how Dolph Lundgren wakes his son up by punching him in the chest. He punches him in the chest to wake him up. That's genius. That's great. And so Rocky turns it down. He doesn't want to see another Creed die in front of his eyes.
And of course, Creed gives a little hissy bitch fit.
Yeah.
Which, I'm sitting there rolling my eyes because I'm like, dude, but that's how the drama has to work. You have to have that little split, a little breakup. Anyway.
But yeah, he accepts the fight really kind of out of, he feels obligated to do so. And but he's also doing it because he said he was scared. And he kind of did it for the wrong reasons. And that's why Rocky kept asking him, "Why are you fighting?" He's like, "Oh, I want to redeem my father's name," and and then Rocky's just not buying it.
Yeah.
He's like, "Why are you? What are you fighting for? Why is this important?" And then once he realized what's important, then we get our training montages, the Creed soundtrack comes back, and there's our movie. So the boxing sequences. Now, I like the way Ryan Coogler directed the boxing sequences. In the first Creed, he had to he made that one of the, I think it was the mid fight. Where I really enjoyed that because he made it look like it was one take and the camera was swooping around, and he had some fun in the main finale fight at the end of that movie, and I really liked that because he was trying to do something different and make the fights more exciting. The look of the film I liked in Creed 1 a lot better than Creed 2. But the good news is with Creed 2, despite some of the pacing being off, some of the pacing was odd.
It was hard to put
in this movie, and it kind of hurt the film a little.
Yeah, I still can't really put my finger on it. It felt like sometimes things were just kind of happening, and there was no rhyme or reason for the scenes that in the order that they were falling in. Like, you could have literally switched out some scenes and they could have gone anywhere. Like, the narrative maybe was a little. I think Cranky Critic and all of the three of us were talking about this afterward. It wasn't bad, it was just something felt off.
Yeah, something did feel a little bit off.
But not to
the first film felt more focused.
Yeah, and again, it's not to where it wasn't like still enjoyable.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It wasn't like totally detracting. It was just a little off-putting.
Yeah.
Again, really hard to put my finger on it.
Mm-hmm. But there was something about it.
Yeah,
in certain places.
Yeah.
So despite some bad pacing moments, I am happy to say that at least this new director, Stephen Capel Jr., did film the boxing sequences very well. I'm very happy.
Right.
He didn't have the camera all super close up, shaky cam, fucking it all up.
Lots of quick cuts, none of that shit. It was.
Yeah, there was moments where, especially the end fight with Victor, there was a moment where they exchanged punches, and Creed did like a 5-punch combo, just like boom, 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 right? And I was in the theater and I was like, I felt it when I went, in the theater, you know what I'm saying? I was like, all right, that's what I'm talking about. Not the 1-punch cut, 2-punch cut.
Yeah.
They do that when actors don't know how to fucking move.
Yeah.
When they didn't train, they're not like dancers, or they're not martial artists, or they're not athletic.
Or if the director doesn't know how to film action.
Or that. There you go.
Either or both.
Yeah. So I'm happy to say the fight scenes were very well filmed and very well done, especially with the fight choreography. The score. Did you like the score? A lot of the Creed theme came back.
I wasn't really.
There were some old school throwback cues
Yeah.
that kind of made you giggle in the theater when they.
Yeah.
No, it was. That came out of nowhere at the end of the thing.
Yeah, so
it was okay.
Yeah,
it's for the fans.
Modern day scoring.
Yeah, it's for the fans.
Modern day scoring has kind of. I'm going to sound very old when I say this. A lot of modern day scoring has lost the magic that we used to have in scores from back in the day. So you're not. It's very hard to find memorable movie scores these days. So if I don't notice it, then that means it was just there.
Right.
So I didn't really. I noticed the cheesy Rocky stuff, obviously, but aside from that,
the classic theme.
Yeah. Aside from that, I didn't really pay attention to the music too much because it wasn't really. It was just there.
Well, we had a lot of.
Like I said, try not to pay attention to too much of that.
I know this is a new era. This is this new generation's Rocky, basically. Mm-hmm. And that's cool, and that's awesome, and it's good that there's quality and effort in something that this new young generation can enjoy. But did he have to come out to some Jaden Smith? Like, this is the future of music.
Okay, again,
Jaden Smith.
We're gonna sound very old.
That's it.
Ranting about this. This is not our era. And that's all it is. That's all it is. If you really want to dig deep, Eye of the Tiger is fucking 80s gold.
That's true.
You can't have any track from the Rocky franchise.
Yes.
You know it's from the 80s.
Yes.
So
and it's cheesy, but however, still to this day, boxers of today and MMA fighters of today will walk out to that fucking song.
Eye of the Tiger?
Yeah. Ain't nobody gonna be walking out of no fucking Jaden Smith 10 years from now.
You're probably right.
Ha!
You're probably right.
Old people won today. as we victory for us old people. Bring back the pogs.
Oh my god.
I never had pogs.
I didn't either.
And I looked at the pogs and I said, "That's a pog."
Didn't they look like?
Why is this popular?
Didn't they look like giant bottle
caps? And were we of age?
Well, like I said, I was at school one day.
Yeah.
And I saw kids my age playing with the pogs.
I had action figures, man. I had fucking video games and action figures. I don't give a fuck about no fucking pogs.
I didn't understand. Were they like giant bottle caps? Isn't that what they look
guess.
Like? Yeah.
Cards I kind of get.
I guess.
Basketball cards and.
Well, but playing cards. That's a whole other ball of wax. But anyway, again, good scene with Rocky at the end.
Oh, when he's basically passing the torch.
Yeah, when
he says, "This is your time
when
now."
Adonis wins and he wants him to come into the ring with him.
Oh yes, I know where you're going. Go ahead.
Yeah, and Rocky just kind of sits back. He just kind of like says, "This is your time now, kid." And he sits back out of the ring, and you get this really nice shot where he's got his hat on and behind him, and he's just sitting down next to the ring, watching everybody celebrate, and he's just kind of there.
That was great.
Standing back. It's a good scene.
Yeah, it was. But I thought you were going to the scene after. Which we were like, whoa, another cameo. We were not expecting that at all. And that's when Rocky goes to visit his son.
Right.
And the same actor that played his son in Rocky Balboa came back for this. And that was so cool, man.
Yeah, nice.
Went to go visit his grandson.
Nice little closure. Kind of Rambo style, because Rambo in the end of Rambo 4 goes back to the ranch after God knows how many decades. But yeah, he finally, because there was this whole subplot with Rocky and how his son, him and his son had a falling out, which you could kind of see that in Rocky Balboa a little bit. But by Creed, his son was gone. He had moved away out of state. He had met up with some chick. They got married. They started a family. And in Creed 2, Rocky's talking about how he's got grandkids that he's never met, and he hasn't spoken to his son in years, and he tries to pick up the phone and talk to him, and he just can't do it. And you finally get a nice little resolution with that at the end. That was a nice little touch, especially because Stallone has pretty much said, even though they always say this, but he's looking his age, and he said at one point He made a video. I never got to see it.
Yeah, he recently made a video, kind of while they were filming, and filming the movie, and he was basically verbally passing the torch to Michael B. Jordan. And Michael B. Jordan gave him a hug, and he was all like, "I got this for the new generation." And he basically, as of right now, that could all change. Yeah, has retired from playing the iconic character of Rocky Balboa. Right. Which I think is perfect. This movie right here is the perfect way to end it. I mean, they will make another Creed because they want a trilogy. But I really don't think they need any other movies. I think this is the perfect way to end the series.
I kind of wish, and I know this is going to sound really cheesy and stupid, I kind of wish they would end it with Creed 2 and let Victor have his own film.
Oh, that's fucking dope.
I kind of wish...
That's a great idea. It would
almost be like an Undisputed thing.
Where he's the new Yuri Boyka.
Yeah, where Boyka took over the franchise.
Dude, I'm more excited for that than another Creed movie.
Especially because he's got his own redemption and he has his own path he has to find his way through now.
Yeah, we forgot to mention that when Victor doesn't really give up, but he's getting the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah, and
you have Dolph Lundgren.
You have that symbolic scene.
Brigitte in the audience gets up and says, "Fuck this, I'm out again."
Yeah.
And
did she get blood splattered on her?
Did she? I don't remember, but
I don't know why it seemed like that happened.
Dolph threw in the towel.
Yeah.
And he hugged his son. And
there
was some really good emotion here, not unexpected.
Yeah. Again, it boiled down to some pretty decent writing, humanizing Victor.
Yeah,
and
both of them.
And Ivan, especially Ivan, because Ivan was this kind of one-note baddie in Rocky
And
IV.
I was scared that was going to happen because in this movie, especially the first half a little bit, because they really didn't talk. They were just big. Yeah. Were big and mean. And I was just like...
Which I like that approach.
Yeah, but I was scared that was the whole movie.
Right.
Like Dolph wasn't going to say anything.
Right.
But then we had a really great scene in Adrian's, the Rocky's restaurant, named after his wife. And that was really great. We needed 5 more minutes of that scene.
We did, yeah.
Now, overall, we were pleased, we were happy. It was very, very well done, and we recommend it. Do you see some Rocky fans being disappointed? Now, obviously, we can't have fucking 70-year-old Rocky versus 7-year-old Ivan Drago fight. Obviously, we can't have that.
Yeah.
But do you think fans kind of wanted something, some kind of...
It was like, what, did they want some over-the-top style where they're arm wrestling on a table? And Stallone whips out his little hat and turns it up
to
the side or something. It's like, what did they want?
I don't know why. I was pleased with the film, but I don't know why. And plus, I had kind of low expectations too. I was excited and low expectations at the same time. But I just see some fans kind of being like, "Oh, it was okay." I kind of see some fans doing that.
I guess
Ivan Drago's coming back, and then
I guess it always depends on what they're looking for in a film.
Okay.
I was excited to see Rocky and Ivan square off again, but I knew it wasn't going to be in the ring.
Right.
I knew it. Yeah. I was excited because of their history. And the weight of what them meeting again was bringing to the table, and the weight of the fact that it was Ivan bringing his son in to fight the son of the guy that he killed in the ring. Yeah. That alone, for me, was what made me excited to see the film. It was just like, how is this going to play out? Yeah. Like, how is it going to go down? And I personally was not disappointed.
I was not either.
I was pleasantly surprised with a lot of things, to the point where I was like, I don't think it was as strong as the first Creed. But it's literally just a peg under Creed.
It's a peg.
For me. Mm-hmm. But there was enough in there to be I really enjoyed the film on its own.
And, oh man, some of that dialogue they had between each other where...
In the restaurant?
Yeah. Where he's like, there's no pictures of me in here.
Yeah.
I was just like, this motherfucker. You know, Rocky was like, this motherfucker comes in here.
Yeah. And then he leaves.
Talking shit.
And he leaves. Pointing to a picture of Apollo and saying it's a good picture.
Yeah.
You know,
God
it was good.
Damn it.
It was good shit.
It was good shit. So yeah, overall we highly recommend Creed. Anything else before we move on? Talk about more Pogs.
Jesus. Where did we get on the Pogs? Why did that even become a thing? Why? I don't get it. What happened to our lives? I think that was
What, the next podcast we're just going to throw in Digimon cards.
And we're going to change it to Verbal Nectar Podcast.
It's going to be Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Oh
next.
my god.
Oh, we're just We're just new boot goofing.
We're just dumb.
Anything else? We're good.
I think...
Highly recommend Creed 2. Next up is Halloween 2018.
Oh, sweet Jesus on a cracker.
And holy shit!
We have a story to tell.
Yes.
Okay, so you and I and Cranky Critic
OGP.
and OGP.
Yeah.
And a couple of other people, but us four.
Yes.
Were the ones about 5 or 6 of us, maybe 7, went to go see Halloween 2018 together, and 4 of us came back to the house and sat down and filmed an hour and 20-minute film for our video for all of you.
Yes.
Discussing the film, having a pretty lively discussion for 4 people that were exhausted out of our fucking minds.
Yes.
Having just sat through a nearly 2-hour film.
Yes.
And about towards the wrap up of the video, we realized that the camera died and didn't record anything.
Yeah. Even though I pressed the fucking record button and the camera said record, for some reason, nothing recorded.
We didn't realize that there was an issue with our memory card, among other things. We eventually got it sorted out, but it left a very rotten taste in our mouths to try to do a video again.
Well, I know. Well, this is why, because a lot of people were asking us, "Where's the Halloween review? Where's the Halloween review? Where's the Halloween review?"
Yeah.
So think about it. We just got out of the theater, seeing it. We filmed a quick first impressions vid, and I threw it on the end of the pickups video I made, out and about Blu-ray DVD hunting video I made. So we did a little bit there. Then all the way home, we talked about the movie. Then when we got in here, we sat down for an hour and 20 minutes and talked about the movie. We did a review. We gave our ratings. We talked about the franchise, the future of the franchise. So we were all dead. We're exhausted. Halloweened out. Yeah. And keep in mind, this was an epic. I'm sorry you guys will never see it, but it was epic. Cranky Critic had some very insightful things, like he always does. Lady Fatblood did her thing. OGP was damn hilarious, as usual.
We kind of had some...
I had my classic flubs.
We had some rantings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was epic. While we were drinking beers and having a good time. I'm sorry you guys will never see it. Yeah, but after all that, and finding out nothing recorded...
Yeah.
We basically wanted to kill ourselves. We were like, we ain't talking. We are not refilming this.
It soured us to the point where I would not touch the camera to fix the problem for like 3 days. I wouldn't even look at the camera. No. So I was just like, fuck this shit. I don't want to do videos anymore. I don't want to do anything anymore. I don't even want to think about it. Yeah. And it took me a few days before I finally sat down with the camera, got into the workings, and was like, okay, what is going on here? I was going through all the menu options, the settings options, everything I could possibly think of. And obviously
figured it out.
We've done videos since then, meaning we've fixed the problem, and that's why we're able to record and do what we need to do. But it just soured us. Yeah. So it was just like, okay, well, we don't really care if we do a video at this point. Like a proper review.
Yeah, if the camera's not fucking recording, don't show record camera.
And wait for an hour to show us the warning that something's gone wrong.
And the warning came anyway.
So
that's why there's no official review of Halloween. But we're going to talk about it now.
Halloween 2018.
Very well done. Entertaining. Very well done.
I'm going to piss people off because I always do. It was well done.
Yeah. Think of the other sequels. Think of the shit.
No. It was well done.
Yes.
There were some of the things I'm going to throw out there that I really enjoyed. I enjoyed Michael's presence.
Yes.
I loved Jamie Lee Curtis.
He was grounded and intimidating again.
Yeah. I loved the score.
Jamie Lee Curtis was fantastic.
Yeah.
So the score is the highlight of the movie.
It really...
John Carpenter and I forget who else was with them.
I have the score somewhere over.
Yeah, I bought her the score.
I still have to put it on the computer on the player and all that. Fantastic. Jamie Lee Curtis's character. So basically, and again, spoilers abound because it's been it's been a while now since the film came out. Obviously, one of the things that I was curious about was how far back were they going to scrub the franchise? Were they going to scrub it all the way until 2, and it was still going to be the brother aspect, or were they just going to scrub it completely and just take it all the way back to part 1? And come to find out, that's what they did. 2 no longer exists. H2O doesn't exist.
Right.
Which some people would lament that, but this has literally become the modern day filmmaking process and franchises. You can choose your own adventure now.
Yes.
In sequels. You can literally choose, do you want to go from 1 all the way to 6 in the Thorn Cult, or do you want to go from 1 to skip 4, 5, and 6 and go to H2O and say fuck Resurrection, or do you want to take it all the way to Resurrection? That's where the franchise ends. You can do whatever you want with this franchise now. So now we have the option to skip 2 all the way to anything else after that, and now we just go to Halloween 2018. And as such, Jamie Lee Curtis's character now no longer has a son, but she has a daughter, and the daughter has a daughter. And Jamie Lee Curtis has basically gone insane to a point. Her character is suffering from, I guess you could call it PTSD with the whole encounter. She's lived her entire life after the Halloween incident as this survivalist. She's passed all of this shit onto her daughter, who's now trying to live a normal life. Jamie Lee, she's got some really great scenes. The one in particular at the restaurant where she wants to be part of the family, but at the same time she just can't do it because it's too normal for her. Yeah. And she goes in, she's been drinking a little bit, and at one point she just breaks down. Yeah. Just great moments like that.
And there's reason to it too, not just because of the previous trauma, but because Myers might escape at this point.
Well, yeah,
she gets word that they're moving him, correct?
Well, yeah, she does, but she's lived her entire life.
She's like, I saw him.
Yeah, she's had this PTSD, but she's been dealing with it in that she's been learning to survive, and she's been building these traps, and she's been living a certain way. Right. And she's always lived under the assumption that one day Michael Myers would get out and come find her.
She's been training. Right. At the rifle range.
And at one point she was training her daughter, but her daughter is basically kind of like the John Connor syndrome where she's just brushed it off as, okay, no, my mom was just crazy, and so now I'm going to try to live a normal life. Right. And all that good stuff. But
this is all fine.
And this is where in the original video that we filmed, I was the most vocal. Some things in this film did not work for me. Yes. There were some things that were just so awful. And some people would go, oh, but it's just the way a slasher genre works. It's like, okay, fine, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to slasher genres and horror genres in general, for me, you have to go one way or the other. You have to go dead serious, or you have to go completely stupid and you've got the people that you don't like, and so you want them to die. Right. And they tried to mix the two. Right. So basically, anything involving Laurie's granddaughter was atrocious. Yeah. Anything involving her friends, the high school setting.
That was terrible.
Was fucking god awful. Yeah. You had this bootleg. What's his name? Oh, Jesus Christ, Loomis. You had the bootleg Loomis of the film. Yeah. That was terrible. Yeah. That basically they did the Topher Grace and the Predator thing with him, where he's been studying Michael all this time, like he was Loomis's protege.
And now he wants to know how to kill and get the feeling of it.
He wants to have what Loomis had, and that
I want to be just like you.
Yeah, and that Loomis got to see Michael in action, and that's his thing. He wants to see what Michael did, and he wants to experience all of that. And
it was ridiculous,
it wasn't great.
She joked, her character in the movie. She was like, "Oh, you must be the new Loomis."
Yeah.
Which was kind of funny.
It's fine.
But yeah, everything with the high school kids went nowhere. And even the boyfriend that cheated on her, he didn't even fucking die. So what kind of slasher rules are you following, movie? He should have fucking died.
Because they're leaving it in case there's a sequel. Oh. So he could be in it. Because that's what everybody wants to see. Was the idiot boyfriend and the idiot... Yeah, anyway. They killed
the fat kid.
Who
became rapey out of nowhere.
And the only reason they made him rapey was that we could go, oh yeah, kill him. Like... Yeah. Why?
Yeah. But when the boyfriend, who was like a huge asshole, He should have gotten killed. So it's like, your movie, you're wasting our time.
Yeah.
Like, can we get back to the meat of the story?
Yeah.
And that's, unfortunately one of the negatives of the movie. Like, why are we following these stupid-ass fucking kids?
Yeah.
And it goes nowhere. If you want to follow the granddaughter, even though she was annoying, if you want to follow her, fine. But all these fucking kids, get the fuck out. And I wanted to slap her.
Yeah.
I really did. Like, especially with that one scene where, Jamie Lee Curtis is, being there for her, trying to give her advice. And she's basically telling her, fuck school, do what you want, live your life,
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And then she's like, what is wrong with you? Whatever happened to you happened, 40 years? 40 years ago. You need to just get over it.
Yeah.
I wanted to jump through the screen and slap her.
Yeah.
I was like, you...
Yeah, it's like,
really?
Fuck off with your fucking...
Yeah.
Fucking bullshit, teenage bullshit.
Yeah, but she saw what was up though when Mikey showed up at the end.
And I
know that kind of shit annoys me, man.
I know that they had set up that the daughter had been trained, but trying to make that fucking little 98-pound weakling blonde from Jurassic World the mom, she's like everybody's mom in movies now.
Yeah.
Trying to make her a badass at the last minute. No. I get it. It's because she had the training. Okay, fine. But she was annoying the whole fucking movie, too. She was a bitch the whole film. And so the last thing I want to see is somebody who's been a bitch to a main character that I actually enjoy watching. Suddenly, oh, no, they're fine. They're mother and daughter. They're fine now. Blah, she's badass and blah, blah, blah. It's like I did not care for that at all.
Well, yeah. Yeah, but the movie sets up, especially the trailer. The trailer sets up. Oh, he's going to get out. He's going to show up in Haddonfield, and we were going to get our showdown again, right? That's what everybody wanted to see, and unfortunately, it works, and then it kind of doesn't. Some scenes worked with the finale in the third act, and some of it was just kind of like, okay, we're switching around now. Now she's hunting him at the end. So Myers, Mr. Invincible, is hiding in the darkness from her, which kind of didn't really go anywhere. And, she's the one that goes over the balcony, So they did a little switcheroo, which was okay. But something about the finale third act seemed slow. It seemed like it took forever just to get through it. I don't know if it should have been filmed in a more exciting way. I'm not saying it needed to be filmed as an action sequence, but something about it took forever when she was searching around the house for him and setting the traps. My only question is, was that planned from the beginning when she made that basement? Basement, right?
Yeah, it was like this
underground secret basement.
Yeah,
was that planned? Was that planned?
Well,
for 20 years ago when she built that thing or whatever, was it planned to bait Michael down there with her relatives?
Well,
so that way they can get out somehow and then turn on the flames.
I'm assuming
through the fire. Okay, it was just kind of like we carry on. It was kind of like, what kind of plan was this?
I'm assuming. She said it because there was an interesting part when you had the fake Loomis narration going on at the beginning of the film where you heard him say, and I think this was just set up.
It just doesn't feel
well. I think this was just set up and later
thought out
because Loomis had said the only way to get rid of him is to burn him to ash.
Uh-huh.
Now I don't think Laurie would have heard any of this. And maybe she just had the same idea that he had, but I think she just built it assuming, okay, there's this trap. Somehow he's going to get in there. Somehow I'm going to get him in there. I'll worry about that part later. I'm assuming that was the thought process behind that whole trap thing. It just so happened that the daughter baited him down there, I guess.
Acting all, I'm scared, and all of a sudden, I'm a badass now. You're on fire.
Yeah.
It just
get
seemed...
away from her, you bitch. It was one of those. It was like, okay.
It just seemed like this is not well thought out. And, and maybe that was the point of the movie, because she's not military trained or anything.
Yeah.
She's kind of winging it, and she's old. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just seemed kind of like you could have set that up a little bit better where, okay, we're fighting this motherfucker. This is the situation we're in. Fuck it. Let's use whatever we can. and let's try to beat this dude. You know, I mean, instead of just, oh, no, this was planned. I wanted my family to be in danger and be in the basement and send him down there to kill them. So that way they can fake him out and put on the flames through the fire. Carry on. I
just assumed that it just happened to work that way. Like, the ultimate goal was to get him down there. How they were going to do it, she probably had no plan for that. And it just happened to work out that way. I'm assuming.
Right. Now, here's the big... Like, I forgot to mention this earlier. When the trailer set up everything, and the movie kind of sets it up that you're going to have him return to Haddonfield. We're going to have the showdown. But what's one of the negatives of the film is how he got to the house was just really movie. Like, it was just like, really movie? Because, you know, everybody loves this movie, and it's entertaining, and I recommend it. But think about it. He didn't give a shit about Jamie Lee Curtis's character. He was not hunting Jamie Lee Curtis's character. People forget that. Even though the movie sets it up to where he is back and they fight, he didn't give a shit
and I think that's
about Jamie Lee Curtis's character.
Yeah.
He was in the town killing whoever he came across, which was great because it made him intimidating again because you didn't know what he was going to do.
Except, filmmakers, shame on you, and I know a lot of people have mentioned this, so you draw the line at a 10-year-old, but you won't kill a fucking baby.
It's never going to happen.
You are such fucking pussies. You try to be all edgy by killing a kid, which is like one of the last steps of taboo in Hollywood filmmaking. You actually kill the kid.
Yeah.
But you have a moment to make Michael an absolutely irredeemable monster.
Right.
Irredeemable monster.
By killing the baby.
And you don't do it just because. And at this point, there was no reason for him to not do it.
Yeah.
Because he's killing literally everybody.
Yeah.
He does not care. And like you were saying, the problem with erasing part 2, even though it didn't make any sense for Laurie to be his sister, why is he going after, why do they keep meeting? But it turns out in this movie, Laurie was just crazy the whole time. Yeah. And he probably never would have gone after her.
The only reason he got to the house was because a fake Loomis was driving there. And then he ended up chasing the granddaughter to the house.
Yeah.
That's the only reason he ended up to the house and we had our finale.
Yeah.
That's lazy writing. That's bullshit writing. That's like...
Right.
Well, we got to figure out a way to get him somewhere to the house. But people, all you fans out there of the film, answer that question. Answer that question. And I can't remember the question right now. But basically, I'm just saying, like, he was not hunting Jamie. He didn't give a fuck about Jamie.
Yeah.
He's killing everybody.
Yeah.
And they just they had to get him to the house somehow. I just thought it was they could have thought of another way which made sense for him to come to the house.
Michael's original intent from the first film, even though the body count was very low for the first film.
Would you have preferred it if he wanted revenge?
I kind of feel like if you're gonna skip past all the history.
He would have broke out earlier.
But at the same time, maybe. But at the same time, you're also going back to the notion that he's just a killer with no reason. And I guess if you want to consider it, depending on which personality of Michael Myers you subscribe to, the flaw of the second film could be that, well, now he's got a reason.
Yeah.
Because he wants his sister back, or he wants to kill his sister. Whatever you want to, however you want to view him hunting Laurie Strode.
Yeah, this one, he's killing everyone.
Yeah, which seemed like it was kind of the purpose of the first movie.
Right.
And that was what made him what he was. So I guess that's what they were trying to do with just nixing everything from part 2. Yeah. Even though they acknowledged it by saying, oh, wasn't she his brother? Oh, that was just a rumor. Like, okay, whatever. Right. It's fine, whatever.
Yeah. I still think that just that part of the film, everything else was fine. Except for the stupid high school kids.
Like, do you think...
I did enjoy the black kid. The young black actor.
Oh,
the little one who was getting babysit.
Yeah.
I know some people said that was a little bit too much comedy in the movie, but I thought it was a nice little break
Yeah.
From the seriousness, and he was hilarious.
Right.
He's like, no, man, you need to go up there. don't say her up there.
Yeah.
The girlfriend's boyfriend.
Yeah.
He's like, you need to go up there. And it's the way he reacted was, I think anybody else would have reacted that way. So that little kid was entertaining. Right. But yeah.
So you think that for it to have been a little more impactful, or maybe even a little more ballsy, maybe Jamie Lee should have lured him to her house instead of just happenstance,
or
he just happens to come across because
she was kind of looking. She was looking for the granddaughter, right? She was looking for her family anyway in the town.
Yeah.
Maybe she just came across him in the town, and then we had our finale. But then we wouldn't have the basement where I sacrificed my family to trap him in there to turn on the through the fire. We carry on.
Which apparently doesn't matter because they're just going to sequel this shit anyway.
Right.
Which at this point...
I don't know. I just think they could have written that part better. But let's talk about some of the positives. The movie looked great. Did you like The Mask? Or it was okay? It's better than some of the sequels' masks.
Okay. Some of the sequels' masks, like if you've only seen the sequel, like I would say 4, 5, and 6, if you've only seen those films casually, like I've only seen them maybe 2 to 3 times over the course of 20 years.
Yeah. Which,
believe it or not, is not a lot. Like we're talking, my favorite films I've seen upwards of 100 times in my entire lifetime. Okay, that's a lot. So I have some things memorized, but some things like those films, not until you actually look at a still frame of some of his masks can you really see how god-awful they are.
Right.
But the only thing that didn't make any sense to me was why his mask looked like it had wrinkles in it. If this thing's been in evidence lockup for 40 years.
That's true, huh?
Why did this look like it aged with him? That was a little cheesy.
And what are they feeding these inmates? Are they, when they're getting all these years, are they feeding, they got steroids in the breakfast cereal up there? In the Arkham Asylum? Like, what are they feeding? Because apparently, what is he? What is Myers? 60s? In his 60s or 50s?
I think it would be in his upper 60s at least.
And he still was like, can choke slam people, you know?
He might even be older because he's older than he's older than Lori. Who would be in her 60s, so he's much older. I mean, not much, but he's a bit older.
Yeah. So, I think OGP, I remember he didn't really like The Mask that much. I'm fine, I'm okay with it, it's okay.
I think as a design, it looks good.
Some of the sequels were bad. The Mask was cheap,
some of them literally look like Data from Star Trek The Next Generation. They look terrible.
Yeah.
They look like derp. But
derp.
No, the design in theory looks good, but if you want to make this more of a grounded, realistic, quote unquote, giant quote unquote film, it's like why did the mask have wrinkles?
Right.
Why would that thing still be around after 40 years?
Right.
Anyway.
So the mask was average. The movie looked good.
It looked fine.
Soundtrack was good.
Yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis was great. There's some Easter eggs in there for the fans. Definitely the highlight for me was some of the kills. We had practical effects.
Yeah, we did have some gore.
Yeah, and
this is probably the most gory.
Yeah, we had some head smashing, man.
I don't remember the Rob Zombie films well enough to know if this was topping any of those.
Yeah, I don't remember head explosion smash.
Right.
Watermelon style.
Right.
Galaga. So, but, yeah, Galaga. The comedian smashes watermelons.
Gallagher?
Yeah. Gallagher. What?
You said Galaga.
Well, I was trying to do it with an accent. Now I got a country accent now. What the fuck am I...
I'm like, the arcade game?
So this is the part of the video where we go back to Pogs.
Oh, God.
No, I'm just kidding. So... but yeah, it looked good, sounded good. Kills, practical effects were decent. You know me, I want more gore, more kills, but it's fine. I was pleased with what we got. So that was good. Thank God for practical effects.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else? Negatives, positives? It is what it is.
I don't
think we need a sequel, but this was a huge hit, so you know we're getting one, and the movie teases one. And I don't want to see the annoying granddaughter as the next slasher. Get the fuck out with that shit.
Fuck that shit.
Fuck that shit up your ass.
Yeah, you gotta have...
Yeah.
Nobody knows who is going to be the next big anything at the time, but when you look back in hindsight, you can kind of see, you could tell Jamie Lee Curtis was going to be a future talent. You could tell Sigourney Weaver was going to be a future talent.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see this girl with anything in particular.
No.
I don't remember a goddamn thing about her.
You
know
can't.
What I'm saying? It's like,
I'm sorry.
You have to have something.
I'm sorry, but you can't.
And it's not. This is not a looks thing. This is not anything. This is a personality. This is a. What are you bringing to the screen? Now, granted, she was not written very well. She was just this one-dimensional, idiotic, annoying fucking bitch.
My boyfriend's kissing another girl.
It really was nothing to her character.
And he threw my cell phone in the punch.
But there's no... What is charisma? That's the name.
Right.
That's the word I'm looking for. There's nothing there that's projecting onto the screen. You're not commanding the screen with your presence.
But...
As opposed to Jamie Lee Curtis, who owned every goddamn scene she was in this film.
Oh, yeah. She outacted everyone.
Yeah.
What's his name? Will Patton? I believe that's his name. He was good in the movie. I was kind of surprised he got killed that early, but he did a good job. Yeah. I mean, I don't really... You can't... I'm sorry. You can't make a Halloween movie without Myers. You can't do it.
We've tried.
Yeah, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, which we
was
still...
not supposed to be a Michael Myers film, but you could... I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about Friday the 13th, Part 5. We tried. Nobody wanted it.
Fuck that movie.
Nobody wanted it. I don't care if it was smart for the time.
No, fuck that movie.
Maybe if you had done that by the third film and not the fifth installment, where you only had one movie where there was no Jason, being the first film, but you had Jason 2, 3, and 4, and you've already got this thing with him. Yeah. As far as Halloween 3 goes, that movie was never supposed to be a sequel.
Yes.
The problem with that film's only flaw was that it was called Halloween 3. And that was the studio's fault.
Yeah.
I understand why they called it Halloween 3, because they were trying to turn it into an anthology series.
Yes.
But back then, you had no internet, you had no movie news, like steady mainstream movie news. Right. You had magazines... And that was about it back in the day. Mm-hmm. And people didn't know that.
Right.
So people thought they were getting another installment of Michael Myers and Company. And instead they got this wacky film about witchcraft and possessed masks that turn kids' brains into bugs.
Yes.
Which I fucking loved. Okay? I'm sorry. That movie, I get such a kick out of that movie.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the hell out of it.
We heard nothing but that this is the most god-awful piece of shit movie for years.
Yeah, and so we stayed
So
away.
we had really low expectations, and then when we watched Halloween 3 with the worst expectations, and also knowing the backstory, that it was supposed to be an anthology, horror anthology series, we ended up finding it really entertaining. It was an entertaining movie.
Yeah. So knowing that, I don't know how anybody can go in and say this movie's a piece of shit.
But no one wants to follow someone else. It's not the same.
At this point, no.
Yeah. What are you going to do, though? Have a female in the mask will run around? It's not the same. You can't do it. You can't have a Friday the 13th movie, like you were saying, with somebody else in the mask. Like Jason, like the fifth movie. Fuck that movie.
Yeah. And then trying to turn Tommy Jarvis into the new Jason. It's like, maybe you could have done it in another time, in another age, when Jason hadn't been so strongly established by 2, 3, and 4. Maybe you could have done it. Like, maybe Tommy Jarvis had come in the second film, and then by the third film, psychologically, it goes off the rails.
Yeah.
But then they tried to do it again, kind of, with Jason Goes to Hell, where you have this worm that's suddenly Jason, and Jason's going into all these other people and turning them into Jason. It's like, where the fuck are we going with this goddamn franchise?
People think Halloween 3 is weird. Watch Jason Goes to Hell.
Don't watch it. Some people love that.
Hey, it has its moments. There's some moments in there.
It's not my go-to, but some people love it.
I can watch it over Jason 5. Friday the 13th, 5th movie. Fuck that movie. Up the ass.
It doesn't help
with pogs.
It doesn't help that it was like it's heavily censored. That one in 7. Like, I heard 7...
Well, 7 was the worst.
7 was like the worst, most heavily edited.
Yeah, unfortunately, I feel really sorry for the director.
And it was like supposedly really gory.
Yeah, we seen it.
And they
deleted scenes.
Well, the deleted scenes, they destroyed them. They destroyed the actual scenes.
No.
That's why there was never like an extended director's cut or anything like that. Like there might have been still shots.
Right.
But yeah, it's like fuck you, man. People didn't have any foresight back in the day to hang on to this shit. Can you imagine watching 80s films that got heavily edited by the MPAA or because of the MPAA? Could you imagine seeing them unedited now? Movies from the 80s.
That'd be crazy.
The height of the gore and the practical effects era.
I guess the closest thing to that would be RoboCop director's cut.
Yeah.
That's the closest thing.
But just think of all the horror films that got hacked to pieces back then that we could actually see now and they're restored. Disgusting, vomit-inducing glory.
It's fun.
It is.
So back to Halloween. Still entertaining. Still enjoyed it.
Still some things.
Despite its flaws.
Still some things in there that I absolutely loved.
I will still buy it.
Anything with Jamie Lee Curtis.
I will buy it on Blu-ray.
With her, I was all on board for that.
Mm-hmm. And if you're a Halloween fan and you're a fan of the franchise, definitely check it out. It's weird because I've heard two different things. I've heard that this film was definitely a big, huge crowd pleaser. You have a packed audience where they had laughed, they had a great time. That was not the case in our theater. It was packed, but it was very quiet. Once in a while they laughed at the funny stuff, but it felt weird because when the movie was over and we were walking out of the theater, a lot of people that were still in there were bashing the movie.
That's true.
They were very disappointed.
That's true. There were other people, the groups that...
There were other groups in there, in our theater, that were like... They were like, it's okay.
Yeah.
They were like, it's average.
Yeah.
So it's very mixed, but overall it did well in the theater.
This is one of those films. Again, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. Halloween is not my go-to horror franchise. I did not see the original until I was well into my mid-20s, and I think you showed it to me.
Yeah.
Because up until then, I had seen a lot of the sequels. I had seen 4, 5, 6. I'd seen the Rob Zombie films. I had seen the first Halloween before I had seen the Rob Zombie films, obviously. And I had seen Halloween 2, like, maybe once. Halloween, for me, is not one of those franchises that I have really fond attachments to, like Freddy and Hellraiser. Like, Nightmare on Elm Street and Hellraiser, those were my first, like, oh my god, I fucking love this, you know.
But you still really enjoy and appreciate the first.
I understand the impact it had.
The original Halloween.
Yes, and I respect the hell out of the film. I do enjoy it, I just don't have that love that a lot of people that do have for it. So in this case, this is one of those films that a lot of people who have like this deep emotional attachment to the original film, they loved the hell out of this, and I'm happy for them.
Right.
I'm happy that they got this kind of an experience.
Yeah.
Because this franchise has been in the gutter more than once.
Yeah. A lot of bad sequels, man.
Apparently, you know, a lot of people really loved H2O, and you can kind of say that was a highlight, and then it went right back into the gutter with Resurrection.
Yeah. And
it stayed there, and then Rob Zombie, you either love it or you fucking hate it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of on the fence about it.
Yeah. But even Cranky Critic prefers H2O over this.
He did.
As a true sequel, and in terms of entertainment and nostalgia, he enjoyed that more than this film. In OGP, he's the biggest John Carpenter fan, loves the Halloween franchise. He's huge on the Halloween franchise, and he was just like, it was entertaining.
Yeah.
That was kind of his overall response. He wasn't like, oh my god, this movie's the great. He wasn't like...
He wasn't strangling me because I didn't like a lot. So that kind of means we were close to the same reaction to it.
But you did like it.
Like I said...
You didn't love it, but you liked it.
There are aspects of it that I really like, but when I have to go watch it again...
Yeah.
I'm going to be tuning out some parts of the film.
Right.
And I said that, I've said that about the film before.
But overall, you can agree that this is definitely one of the better sequels.
Oh, God. If you've had to sit through
the best sequel?
If you've had to sit through the Cult of Thorn, if you've had to sit through any of that crap,
The Cult of Thorn.
The Cult of Thorn.
Right.
Michael Myers fucking his own niece to get a baby, just to sacrifice the baby when he could have just sacrificed his niece. Because logic, goddammit. Okay? Anyway. No, I think it's a product of its time, this one. I think it's a product of 2018.
Yeah.
I don't know how well it'll hold up.
Yeah.
I don't want to see a sequel.
No.
I think there comes a point where
this is a good word. This is a good place to end.
And that's the problem. Nobody knows when to shut it off. Nobody knows when to just stop it.
Yeah.
And they're not going to stop it when it's financially successful.
And you didn't see his body at the end, so he probably still alive. I don't know how the fuck he got out of there.
Exactly. And it gets old after a while.
Yeah.
And it comes to a point where it's like, okay, you were lucky enough, like something that the Friday the 13th films never had was the one person left that you could follow through the franchise.
Right.
Even though Jamie Lee Curtis disappeared for several of those films,
Yeah.
she was there for half of the franchise, you could say.
Yeah.
She was there for 1, 2, she was there for 7, which would be H2O, and then she was partly there for Resurrection. She was there for like the first 5 minutes. And then they brought her back for 2018. Right. So she's been the one thing. It's like, even if she wasn't there, she was partly there. Because what happened in 4, 5, and 6, you had her daughter, quote unquote, which that got scrapped, obviously.
Right.
But she was kind of like the driving force that you could follow. And when you have that, you need to have a conclusion at one point.
Yeah.
Like with Friday the 13th with Jason, it doesn't matter how many times you bring that fool back. It's about him. You go to the movies for him. You don't go to see the heroes necessarily for those films. But in this one, when you got the main lead, that's been fairly consistent, not always, but fairly consistent. You need to see that person win.
Yeah.
And this should have been the win. This should be it. That should be it. But they're not going to let it be it. So I'm done. I'm checked out. I'm good to go.
Because of money.
Yeah.
Money. Yeah. So entertaining. Highly recommend it. Make sure you guys check it out. Even if you're a horror fan, check it out. You know, find out for yourself. You may end up loving this film. The Sexy Sumo loved it.
Oh, okay.
He loved it. Okay. So, like I said, I mean, there's people out there. There is an audience. And it definitely was entertaining, and you could tell. At least I can give the movie this. There was effort.
Yeah. And
care went into making it.
Yeah.
Which you don't get with
Hellfest.
Yeah, Hellfest. Fuck that movie. Which you don't get in modern day horror films. You don't. All right, next up. Hereditary.
It's an interesting parallel.
Hereditary.
To Halloween 2018. Now, I ended up watching Hereditary not too long after we saw Halloween. I caught it on one of our streaming services. And I decided, it was one of those, I watched it on a whim, kind of like when I watched Mother. It was just one of those late night, hey, I'm awake.
Yeah, I watched it with you.
Yeah. I want to just watch a film. Let's just watch it. And this is one of those films where I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me because it's such a slow burn that I could see a lot of people being pulled out of their minds. And but I gotta say, as far as a horror film and as far as a story goes,
mainstream horror. I
kind of would go with this
over Halloween.
I hate to say that. I hate to say that because it's not an easy watch.
No.
It's not an easy film to watch. And it's not something that I could pop in over and over and over, but it's just like from a narrative perspective, like storytelling, like I said, it kept me engaged. Now, I've heard some people say, I want my 2 hours back. This is the most boring film I've ever seen.
And I understand.
Absolutely.
A buddy of ours, Mike, we went to the NXT wrestling show not too long ago.
Yeah.
Because we like real wrestling. You know, NXT wrestling. Fuck the mainstream WWE shit. Anyway, that's a whole other podcast.
It really is.
But yeah, he was talking about, he was with us and he was talking about how he was just like, you just wasted my fucking time. Yeah. What the fuck was that ending?
Yeah.
And I get it.
Yes.
I totally get it.
Yeah.
Before we go into the plot and talk about what we like and we didn't like, this, a good similarity, or similar film, that I would compare this to would be The Witch. When The Witch came out, the trailer was just like, woof, and the horror fans went to go rush to see it, and they were like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
A lot of people, there are people out there that have made tons of movie reviews for this film, and they were like, this was a biggest waste of fucking time. Nothing happened in this fucking movie, and fuck that ending.
Right.
So I had that in my head when I went to go see The Witch. Really zero low expectations, and I ended up really liking it, man. And I ended up loving the ending. So I kind of went into this with you basically the same.
Yeah.
Zero expectations, even though there was a lot of critical acclaim for this.
Yeah.
Does this deserve to be on the fucking it's too disturbing to finish list?
Well,
I highly recommend if you haven't seen that video. We did a video on that. A list of movies that were too disturbing to finish, which I call bullshit.
You've also got to remember that we are also two people that just demanded that Michael Myers kill a baby. So, of
We're
course,
extreme.
The subject material that we saw in Hereditary, which is also similar to what I saw in Mother.
Right.
Just not quite as much. Because I'm goddamn evil. Okay, so there's a... I shouldn't be laughing at this. This scene... Okay, so Toni Collette. Damn fine actress. Stop zooming in on her face, though. I'm sorry. No, and it's not even like Jesus, she's hideous. It's just that woman. She's got a face.
Yeah, well, she's making the bug eye.
She's got a face.
Yeah,
okay, and it's a face that is not close-up friendly.
Right.
And I mean that. I don't mean that in a mean way. It's rough.
Yeah.
Okay, and you see a lot of close-ups of this woman's face. Okay. Yeah. But she's a great actress, so it's fine. Anyway, it's hard to describe the plot because it's supernatural, but it's psychological also.
Yeah. It deals with grief.
Yeah, you got the Toni Collette character dealing with the aftermath of her mother dying. Her mother was this really closed up, like not so great of a person, and Colette's got her own issues because of her mother. She's got issues raising her kids have issues, yada, yada, yada. The scene where her daughter...
Oh, when her daughter gets killed?
Okay, so her daughter's an idiot, but then Tony's an idiot too. No, her daughter's just...
Why is her daughter an idiot?
Her daughter's an idiot because she's like... She doesn't want to go to the goddamn party. And instead of saying, listen, I don't want to go to the fucking party.
Well, Mom made her go.
She just lets her, and then she goes and eats the fucking, what was it, cake?
She didn't know there was almonds in it.
You can't see that there's almonds on the fucking cake. Know. Whatever the fuck it was. She's eating shit she shouldn't be eating anyway.
Man, Lady Phat Blood's brutal today.
Anyway, so she ends up with this allergic reaction to it. Her brother's freaking out. He's trying to drive her home. She doesn't have her, she doesn't have any meds on her. Yeah. So he's trying to drive her home.
EpiPen or whatever.
Yeah, so she sticks her head out the fucking window.
Because she can't breathe.
she gets her head knocked off from a fucking light pole.
Yes.
An electric pole.
Decapitation. Boom.
Gets totally decapitated.
Blink.
Like, you get this close-up of her face with the ants eating it and all this shit. I had to stifle a laugh. Because it's...
Meanwhile, I'm over here with my mouth open because I just wasn't expecting it. I was just like, oh shit, did that just happen?
When you think about how awful would it really be, and it's not funny, but I have a tendency to laugh at things that aren't funny if I'm not experiencing it myself.
Right.
I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because, goddamn, that's fucked up. That is brutally... unbelievably fucked up.
Came out of nowhere, yeah.
So the fucking son drives home.
Yeah, and goes to bed.
Leaves the headless daughter, his headless sister, in the back of the goddamn car.
Yeah.
Goes upstairs, goes to bed.
Because he's freaked. He's
done.
He's in shock.
He's in so much shock. Like, he doesn't even... There is no register of what's going on at this point. And the mom goes downstairs to get into the car, and you're just waiting for it.
Yeah.
You're waiting for the freak out.
Yeah.
And by God, it happens. And it's just like, I was just like trying so hard not to laugh, because the whole situation is just a million degrees from funny and a million degrees from okay. But I'm just like, wow, the severity of how fucked up this is just so high, I have to laugh.
Right.
And then right after that, you see the close-up of the daughter's decapitated head on the side of the road with all the bugs, and it's all fucked up and all that.
And then the mother makes a model of it.
And yeah, she does. And that was another thing. That was another interesting thing. And she's all this calmly, like, painting.
That's her job. Painting, she makes models.
Yeah, and she's just painting the blood on the side of the road from where the daughter's head was, and trying to make
Gabriel Byrne, who's we like him as an actor. He's her husband. He comes in. He's like, "Are you serious?
Yeah,
you're making a model?
Like, why? What? It's just it's
like, what if your son sees this?"
Yeah. So. Again, not funny, but it was just like, oh my God, that's fucking... So, the loosest way I can describe the plot is the mother, the grandmother was into a cult. She was into a cult.
Yeah.
Witchcraft, I guess you could say. Was trying to summon this one particular, I don't know if it's a demon, I don't remember what kind of entity it is.
Right.
But they needed the firstborn, I guess, or a male or whatever.
The demon of havoc or chaos or something like that, yeah.
But it had to be a male. But Toni Collette, her character wouldn't let the mom, like, do anything with the son when she first had him.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until she had her daughter that she would let the grandmother, like, you know, have anything to do with her. And so that way the grandmother was able to, like, work her way into the granddaughter, and so by the time the granddaughter died, well, shit, I've got to transfer. It's really complicated. It's not, but it's like, it kind of seems like they had to transfer the soul of the entity with the daughter, because the daughter's cooperative, but into the son.
Yeah.
So the whole thing ends up being inside the son. And you get some really weird imagery toward the end. You get a really nice... proper jump scare towards the end of the film. I do remember that. Whereas, like, finally a jump scare I can actually get
crawling around on the ceiling.
Yeah.
The mother was crawling around because she was possessed.
Yeah.
And there was some fun. Oh man, Gabriel Byrne. Fuck. What was that book she was trying to burn?
Yeah, I don't.
I'm trying to remember.
God, it's already been a while. We've only seen it once. But
But she was trying to burn this book, and it had something to do with the cult. And he threw it in the fire. No, she threw it in the fire.
It wouldn't. Yeah, well, she eventually threw it.
It got thrown in the fire, and then Gabriel Byrne, it backfired, and Gabriel Byrne got burned to death.
Yeah.
So everything went to hell at the end of the movie. But she met up with this lady. She was trying to ease her grief, and she was going to these support groups. Mm. And she meets up with this lady. Oh, I know your mom. I was friends with your mom. Blah, blah, blah. Mm. And they end up becoming a little close. And she brings her back to her apartment. And she does this whole seance thing, communicating with the dead. And then the mother, and Toni Collette's like freaking the fuck out. And she's just like, whoa. And then the lady's like, look, I can teach you how to do this, so you can contact your daughter that died. Mm. And Toni does that at the house. Gabriel Byrne freaks out. The son freaks even more fuck out.
Yeah, the son, you could see him degenerating over the course of the film. Like, psychologically, he's just like, you just see him getting worse and worse throughout.
Because all he wanted to really do was get high and get laid. Yeah. He ended up decapitating his sister.
Yes. Yes.
So,
and letting his mom discover the body in the car.
Right. And the more she started to delve into this, the seance and reaching out to the daughter, the more the hauntings of the house and the mind games and all the creepy visuals and shit and dreams and all that shit started happening. The son was having images of his mom trying to kill him when he was asleep. Mm-hmm. All kinds of weird, crazy shit was fucking happening. Yeah. Even though the movie technically was a slow burn film and not that much happened. So I was expecting. So I get it. I get people getting disappointed with the film, and especially the ending. I totally understand it. But for me, it was kind of. I was feeling shades of Rosemary's Baby at the end with the cult, And I was just waiting for
Yeah.
all the old people around there to start going, "Hail Satan!"
Yeah.
I was waiting for that, and we kind of got that. It was similar.
Yeah.
The son had the demon was inside of him, the god or whatever.
Yeah,
and the cult was
worshiping him by the end. There was like the decapitated body.
Yeah.
There was another decapitated body, and it was like doing weird shit.
It was bowing with everyone else.
Yeah, was that Toni Collette's body?
Oh man, I forgot how she died.
Yeah.
I think so. Because who else would it have been?
It seems like it was her body.
Yeah, her decapitated body.
Yeah.
Bowing with everyone else.
The film,
in the end...
Yeah, go ahead.
In the end, the grandmother got what she wanted.
Yeah, yeah.
And don't forget, before the whole, it's planned for my son to be the vessel. I mean, my grandson to be the vessel. Before even that, all the wealth they got, that was because of the cult as well. Mm-hmm. Everybody was donating. Because she was on the ground. Oh, remember getting all the money and all that?
Oh, okay.
So she did her own version of people are going to get sacrificed. I'm sacrificing myself for wealth. And, that's why the family was so fucking rich. That was part of it. So,
right.
Besides the grandson being the deity, being the vessel for the demon. So, and she succeeded.
Yeah.
That's how the movie ended.
Yeah, and
he's in the grandson's vessel, and who knows what will happen after that?
Yeah.
The end of the world? We don't know. But you have all the other occultists up there butt naked, doing bowing to the deity. So it's a fucking crazy. If you look at it from the outside, it's a fucked up story. It's a crazy story.
Yeah, and it's
not a happy ending.
Sometimes style can help a film out a lot too, and that was something that the film had going for it.
Yeah.
It was a really good looking film. Mm-hmm. A lot of
really good moments, and the soundtrack was very.
Yeah.
What's the word I'm looking for? Unsettling?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And a minimalist sort of, it wasn't like overbearing or anything like that. It was just very, like you said, unsettling. But the film had a really good look to it. You had the model sequences where sometimes the model like morph into
that's one of my favorite parts of the film. Like the
yeah.
camera transitions from the model to real life was like, wow, that was really cool.
Yeah. The story ultimately can be a little weird because it's like, oh, it's a cult. Oh, it's an entity that was in the girl, but now the girl's dead, so it's in the boy, and now the boy's the cult. Okay, wait, what? Yeah. It might be a little like, depending on the payoff you're expecting, it might be disappointing. So, you said, I
get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
But I think.
But at the end of Rosemary's Baby, the son of Satan was basically born,
right?
And everyone celebrated, and that was the end.
Right.
There wasn't any like, oh, now he's an adult now. Fast forward 2 years from now, and there's chaos, and we have Armageddon and wars, and there was just this is the end.
Yeah.
And a lot of people may not like that. They want carnage, chaos, or at least a more satisfying like. Holy shit! The demon is here. We're fucked.
Yeah.
Instead of just naked old people bowing.
Yeah.
So I get it.
I think,
but I thought it was well done.
Yeah, and it's one of those films where it's more mood and the journey, and not necessarily the destination.
Yeah.
And that I think horror fans might be disappointed because it's like, yeah, you've got some spats of gore here and there, but this isn't that kind of a horror film.
No.
It's more like a supernatural, maybe suspense, not necessarily thriller. I don't know what this would fall under. Maybe, I guess horror, it is a subgenre of horror maybe. Yeah. But it's not like overbearing, like in your face, splatterhouse horror.
Right.
It's psychological horror.
It's psychological horror.
So, if you're expecting a bloodbath, sorry, it's not that kind of...
No.
It is a story-driven...
Just expect different, expect weird, and expect slow burn and atmospheric.
It's totally about the atmosphere.
Expect that, and you guys may like it or you may hate it. So, but there's one scene in the film which still kind of confuses me, and it's the ones I know people are like one scene. There's one. And that's the scene where the grandson is at school, and that lady that was basically seducing the mother, and I can show you how to do the seance and all that shit. She shows up on the outside. It's either I thought it was her or maybe somebody else from the cult. I'm not sure. But she's on the outside of the street, and he's looking around, and he looks at her, and they lock eyes, and she starts yelling at him, "Get out! Get out!" And I'm like, why are you telling him to get out? Aren't you trying to get him to get possessed? That's the one and only scene where I was confused.
Maybe.
Unless I totally read that wrong and I don't know who that person is, and I assumed that person was from the cult. But why would that person be yelling at him to get out?
Maybe she's yelling at him to get out of his body. Because they need his mind gone. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. That was the only odd.
Because they did need his body.
They did.
Yeah, they needed.
But I thought it was. I was looking at it. You probably figured it out right there.
I don't know.
But I was looking at it like, are she warning him?
Right.
Like, what is happening?
I totally forgot about that.
Anyway.
Yeah, because the whole thing was they wanted to resurrect the entity, but it had to be a male. Right. It had to be a male body.
Yeah.
But
overall.
Yeah.
We enjoyed it. It was I liked it.
I thought it was an interesting ride. Mm-hmm. So, and it was so different, and that's the thing.
Now,
I like movies that are different.
Yeah. It's nice, and that's why you kind of prefer it over Halloween, because this is more different in terms of mainstream horror that goes to theaters.
And it was...
You could tell Toni Collette and Gabriel Byrne, because they produced the film, they were involved, and they wanted to make a movie like this. They wanted to do something different. Unlike Halloween, which is pretty formulaic slasher film.
I like...
Which was still well done for what it was.
I like films that take risks and that try to tell a story that you wouldn't necessarily... Kind of like the film Mother. Again, it's not a perfect film.
Right.
And it's not an easy watch.
Right.
But it's just so out there.
Yeah.
And it's just so... It makes you... It engages you more.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't engaged in Halloween 2018. I was more...
You were just curious where we're going.
I was enjoying aspects and then being annoyed by others, but I was not engaged. Like, with films like Mother and films like Hereditary.
Right.
Even like The Babadook. I was engaged with those.
Yeah.
I was trying to put together what was the underlying message. But
that's another movie. The Babadook.
The Babadook, yeah.
You guys, check our review of The Babadook. We reviewed that movie several years ago, but check our review of it.
Yeah.
But that's another movie where people are like, fuck this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. And I get it. And not all films need to be like that.
Right. But if you watch our review, you can see where our minds were when we went into watching it and what we got out of it. So, now we're going to do a complete 180 here.
Oh my God. This was another on a whim.
We were like, what is this movie?
This is another film on a whim.
We're just browsing Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
And we were like, what is this?
Oh.
We gotta.
And why have we never heard of it?
We do our 5-minute rule sometimes. When we're bored and we're browsing, we're like, all right, let's give it 5 minutes. Let's see if we like it. And we gave it 5 minutes, and what a 5 minutes. Cue Winged Serpent.
The 5 minutes turned into an hour and 40 minutes.
Yes, we ended up watching the whole movie because we were just like amazed in terms of, this is a comedy, but not.
Yeah. So anybody who's interested in a time capsule monster flick.
Yes.
This movie is so beautifully 80s New York.
Yes.
Like, you want to go to 1982 in New York City, you go watch this movie. If you want to time travel and experience New York, you go watch this movie.
Yes.
This movie is just so glorious in how 80s in New York it is. And the thing is, we'd never heard of this film before, and we saw the trailer. Yeah. Which I don't think that was a real trailer.
No, it was just a quick clip.
Which was literally like the first 2 to 3 minutes of the film, which is like, we're all sold.
And it is basically the scene was a window washer on the side of the building was checking out the hot chick inside the office, And he's like, oh, yeah, she loves me. Yeah, oh, yeah, she wants me. This is my baby. And she's just like, inside the building, she's just like, oh, God, this idiot again.
Yeah.
And he's washing the window. And all of a sudden, a big shadowy bird-like figure flies out of nowhere towards it. And then you hear this sound effect. Ow! Like someone bit an apple, and then all of a sudden, his head is gone. And we were like, oh, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
So we have to watch this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was technically the beginning of the film.
So you've got an odd mishmash of stories going on. You've got the cult that's resurrected this Aztec god.
Yes.
Which is the winged serpent. And so they're going around sacrificing people. And so you've got the police, led by David Carradine.
David Carradine, who actually did well.
Yeah, believe it or not. He was actually pretty fine in this. He was fine. Going around trying to solve the murders. And then you've got this jazz musician / crook. He's a driver for like the mob when they do their bank heists and shit.
Michael Moriarty.
Yeah, who did way better than this film deserved.
Yeah.
Like, I was surprised by a lot of the actors, like the performances in this film. Like some people you could see like they're probably like a New Yorker, they're probably New Yorker. But then you had like Moriarty, he had like this one scene where he's like yelling and getting all emotional about how the cops like framed him for some shit back in the day, and he's like getting all into him like, dude, give this guy a freaking award or something. Like he actually,
and in this type of movie with goofy special effects and shit.
With the goofy oh god.
Yeah, stop motion.
Yes.
Old school classic.
Yes.
Now
so
why was the old school stop motion animatronics in this film bad but good at the same time? It's weird because there's shots where you're like, we're laughing our asses off, you guys. We're laughing our asses off because of how funny and how bad it looked. Yeah. How old school it looked.
Yeah.
But then it was actually kind of good in some parts. Like, well done with some of the shots, the camera angles. I was just like, this is not bad.
I guess it boiled down to the creature and then the camera angles. But then, like you said, you had moments where you had little claymation dolls flying away from the camera, like
when they would pick them up and like throw them,
like worse than Dick Jones falling from the OCP tower in RoboCop. Worse than that. Okay, like they looked like little dolls, like Play-Doh dolls.
They did.
Somebody just went, just flicked off the side of the camera.
Flicking Gumbies everywhere.
Yes, which added to the charm. I can't even tell you how cheesy and just how great this movie is on its cheese factor. Like, I don't know. But you got all these like mixed stories going on, and it's not a perfect film, obviously. No. The cult thing kind of fizzles out. Yeah. The Carradine and the robber thing kind of fizzles out because it just kind of comes to an end. Yeah. But it does have a cliffhanger. It does set up for a cliffhanger. That's right, it does. You come to find out this thing is laying eggs in the tops of certain buildings that it has access to. Mm-hmm. If there's crumbling in the ceilings of some of these tall buildings, that's laying eggs and giving it and creating a nest. And it does have another nest in another building somewhere. Dun, dun, dun. So they do kill the creature, which was kind of like it's kind of anticlimactic how they killed it.
It was kind of fucked up because if you think about it, especially today with the whole military and all that and scientists, they would not just kill that thing. They would put it to sleep so they can capture it, so they can study it, so they can be famous.
This was 1982, so
they just went up there and they just killed it. Like, I was like, what?
They would totally blow it away back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Because it was the 80s.
It was the 80s.
But yeah, the way they killed it was kind of anticlimactic, but you do see at the very end that there is another nest with another egg. And I think it cracks open and it goes inside, and that's egg face black or something like that. But yeah, just I enjoyed the hell out of this film.
Yeah, we enjoyed it a little bit too much.
I think
Directed by Larry Cohen, who also did The Stuff, which I thought back in the day was the worst title and the worst movie ever, not knowing that it was supposed to be a fucking joke. It was supposed to be a joke. You weren't supposed to take it seriously, and it was supposed to make fun of consumerism. That was the whole point of it.
Okay.
So now, knowing that, when I watched it again, I was like, oh, yeah, this movie's really entertaining. Okay. Also starring Michael Moriarty.
Really?
Yes.
So, dude, that dude, he
a jazz singer, also.
Yeah.
That guy. But yeah, he was an upcoming crook, kind of wannabe crook. Didn't really want to cross the line and killing people.
Didn't want to get. He was just a driver.
Yeah,
like,
he was low level.
I never go in, and he was forced to go in at one point.
Yeah.
He escapes mid-heist with a box of something or other.
Yeah.
That the crooks were trying to get, and so now the crooks are after him. Even he accidentally dropped the box with some of the merch in it that he was, that he had.
But he accidentally runs into the egg.
Yeah.
Knows where the monster is, and that's why David and basically barters with David Carradine and the cops because they were going to send him to jail.
Right.
And he was just like, "Oh, well, I'm going to make a deal. I'll show you where the egg and the monster is, and then go from there."
Right.
Yeah, definitely one of the most entertaining B flicks. And
unexpected.
We were not expecting this at all.
You got to also remember when you go browsing like we do sometimes, especially any of the streaming services, they will have any number of oddities you've never heard of, and most of the time, you're going to get films like The Sorceress, which is a piece of shit, god-awful movie that had so much potential. Written by Jim Wynorski, probably one of his first, screenwrite credits. I don't know.
I liked it a little bit more than she did.
It had so much potential to be awful.
It's just there to show boobs.
It ended up being the wrong kind of awful, and it wasn't because of the boobs. It wasn't because the story made no goddamn sense. You had this flamboyant as fuck sorcerer guy that loved posing like with jazz hands. Yeah. Showing off a little flaky steak with his robe that was cut a little too high for his own good. He was horribly dubbed. You had the makings of a great, awful film, and it just went off the rails in the wrong direction. It rubbed me the wrong way. Yeah. And you get a lot
I've seen worse sword and sandal films. There's worse.
Of course there are worse. But when you get a lot of films...
Tons of boobs, though.
Yeah, when you get films like that, in your quest for a good B movie, and then you stumble across this.
Yeah, Q.
Yes, it's just a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
Especially how it's just not that bad. It's it's bad, but it's the perfect.
They even made excuses. Because the first thing I asked, remember? I was like, this thing's flying around, biting off heads of playboys. Surrounded by chicks in bikinis doing push-ups and shit. Yeah. Like, why ain't nobody seeing this shit, right? But they even went through the effort to make up a bullshit excuse that it hides in that tower. It comes out really quick, and the sun is glaring on people's eyes because it flies close to the sun.
Right.
It swoops, gets its prey, and goes right back. Yeah. So it's fast.
Yeah, people are blinded.
So that's why people are not freaking out oh my god, this big ass pterodactyl thing is dragon is flying around.
Right.
They even made an effort to bullshit some shit. So so definitely one of the better B films out there. If you guys like old school monster flicks, this is highly recommended.
Cheesy in the best possible way. And it's a beautiful time capsule.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful representation.
Clothes, cars, music.
The accents. Yeah. And just the look. Just the look of the film is just so great.
Yeah. So Q, Winged Serpent. Winged Serpent?
Sure.
Whatever. Directed by Larry Cohen. Highly recommended for B films out there. Now, the next film, a lot of people would consider a B movie, but we do not. And I give you The Exorcist 3. The Exorcist...
Would people consider that a B movie?
It's not fondly looked at. And they do kind of consider it a B flick if you compare it to...
Maybe the first one?
The first one. Which I still don't. I liked this movie. It was very good. It was very well done. Yeah. Now, the first Exorcist is still the best. You got my boy in it that I can't remember right now.
Van Sydow?
Yes, Max von Sydow. Great actor.
Yeah.
And I watched The Exorcist back in the day, many years ago, the director's cut version. I approached it the right way. I didn't approach it with all these posters and trailers, the scariest movie ever made. I didn't approach it with all that hype. I approached it with, I'm bored, not really doing anything. Let me check it out. Meh. So I didn't really expect a lot. And the first half of The Exorcist is slow. It is slow burn. A lot of people may find it boring and fall asleep. I don't see the younglings of today, the Jaden Smith loving, Fortnite playing, Fortnite dancing, liking The Exorcist. I don't think they'll like the movie.
Right.
But
which I still see children in my store doing the Fortnite dance.
Yeah, so fuck the Fortnite dance. Anyway, it's a different tangent for another podcast.
We're just digging our graves and how old we're sounding here.
I don't care. Fuck that fucking dance. Anyway.
Do the Mario.
Do the Mario. Yeah. No, now we're dating ourselves.
That's just for you, cranky critic.
Anyway, so I watched it and I was just like, patient. I'm like, okay, we're building here. We're character development. Not much is happening. Slowly, paranormal things start happening. And then, crazy shit starts happening to the girl who gets possessed in the film. And when Max von Sydow, he knows, he has that feeling. He's preparing for battle. He knows something's going down. He meets up with a younger priest. I forget his name. I don't remember his name in the movie as of right now. Maybe, is it Ed Flanders? I'm not sure if that's the same actor.
I know his actor, that name was in the credits.
Okay.
So I guess that's him.
Okay. Well, he played the younger priest. And they basically tag team to go against this was it Pazuzu, which is one of the goofiest names for a demon.
I've only seen the film once. Is that his name in the first film? That's his given name in the first film?
It's been many years since I've seen the first Exorcist.
I know come part 2, you hear nothing but Pazuzu the whole goddamn flick, and it's the dumbest sounding thing ever.
Anyway,
but if that's what
it's supposed to be the same demon.
I know, but if that's the name that they gave him in the first film, well then that's so be it.
It's still bad.
It's not
Pazuzu does not sound scary.
It's not a good name.
Yeah, it's just as bad as Bagul from the fucking Sinister movie.
God damn it.
Anyway, so when they go up against this thing and the battle happens between them and this demon, I was on the edge of my seat. I watched it with the sound up and the lights out. And I was like, holy fucking shit. People back then must have lost their fucking minds.
Yeah.
Because this little girl, her acting was great. The effects were great. And it felt real. It felt like a battle, man. Like, I was exhausted when it was over. Like, I was just like... And I'm not saying a battle in terms of, like, they're fighting. It's they're trying to get this demon out. And they're using scripture and all kinds of other means to try to get this demon out. And the demon is just fucking with them. And this demon in this movie is one of the best representations of evil in horror films. It's not just this guy in a red, goofy Satan suit running around with a pitchfork. This thing makes this little girl do shit to herself and the priests that I guarantee you will not see in horror movies today, in mainstream horror movies today. You will not see child actors doing what that little girl did.
Well, didn't that...
People would be so offended. They'd be freaking the fuck out.
I think the movie caused a pretty big stir back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And with the church, too.
Well, yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've heard that.
Yes.
So, yeah.
but today, people are super sensitive now.
Yeah, you think we get away with more today, and in some aspects you do.
Yeah, but what that demon made that girl do to herself, with that cross and shit, woo! You're not going to see that in mainstream. Indie films, yeah, sure, maybe, but mainstream movies, no. You know, next to fucking Happy Death Day and Slender Man, you're not going to see a mainstream movie with a little girl doing that to herself. So it was intense. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed it, and the ending was very surprising. I was not expecting it to go down that way. Now, I have not seen the second Exorcist. I saw scenes of it, and it looked like shit.
Yeah.
You have seen it.
I've only seen...
Have you seen it?
Not the whole... No.
So you've seen parts of it?
I've only seen...
Or you've seen reviews of it?
I've seen a couple of reviews for it.
Okay, and it looked like shit?
I've heard that the director didn't like the first film. So he just did whatever he wanted.
Well, then fuck the director.
So he probably if you look at it from that point of view, he probably had no respect for the first film.
He was just trying to make his own shit up.
And it looked, I don't know. Everything I've seen from it, it just didn't look.
Okay.
Just didn't look great.
All right.
So
we could.
And I've seen reviews for the other films too.
Maybe one day I'll watch it out of curiosity, just see how bad it is.
Yeah, I still and then there's like. What is there, like a 4 and a 5, or like there's like a 4 but then there's a 5th one but it's like a remake of the 4th one with different footage. I don't know. They get weird.
The movies after the 3rd one, I wouldn't bother you guys because we heard some weird shit. The remake, it's a remake now. No, it's not a remake. It's a sequel. No, wait a minute, we got switched now. It's stupid now. So I would just go 1 and 3 because 3 does sequel the first film.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So Ed Flanders was the first father.
Okay.
That was friends with George C. Scott.
What was the name of the younger priest?
Jason Miller, and his name was Damien Karras.
Okay, Damien, the character of Damien Karras.
Yeah.
Jason Miller, that's the actor. Okay.
So, going off of that, so the film, the guy he wrote a book called Legion.
William Peter Blatty?
Yeah.
So the guy who wrote the novel directed the film too?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
And apparently the film studio that got the distribution rights demanded some changes to the film, so he wasn't happy with that.
Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, and looks like maybe that exorcism for that last sequence wasn't originally there. Some footage has been salvaged, and I guess Screen Factory released a director's cut.
Okay. I'm assuming that's what we watched.
I don't know. I mean,
because it had the Scream Factory cover.
Then maybe I would hope.
Okay.
I would hope so.
Either way, I'm definitely gonna buy this movie.
Yeah,
I'm buying this movie.
The film, sometimes you get, again, it boils down to atmosphere.
Yeah.
And the film had a really good look. It had a really good atmosphere. It had a really good setup. You had performances, particularly from Ed Flanders and George C. Scott.
Yeah.
We talked about this before. You had these two actors playing these two characters we've never seen before in anything together. We've never seen these characters before. And yet you got these two pros, and you could see the acting chops on the screen.
Yeah.
Where you've got these two characters that you believe that they've been friends for 15 plus years.
Yeah.
Like every bit of dialogue they had together, every interaction they had with each other, you bought it. Like, I totally bought hook, line, and sinker that these two have been friends forever.
Yeah.
And
we had some funny banter. Like, I was looking at you like, is this a comedy?
Yeah, their chemistry together, and it's a shame that we didn't get more of it because something happens to the Ed Flanders character early on. But you had such great banter back and forth with these two characters, and I was like, damn, that is acting up there, motherfuckers. Like, that is great shit. And then, unfortunately, you had the opposite of that, where you had George C. Scott's wife, who was horrifically dubbed the ADR in this film.
But her reaction was like terrible. Remember with the scene where the new demon, no, the Gemini killer entity.
Whoever the Gemini killer has made a deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But remember, he sent the old lady nun to the house to kill George C. Scott's daughter.
Yeah.
And the mother's reaction was like, it was so bad.
So George C. Scott in this film was teamed up with this awful actress who had awful ADR, just awful everything. So that was like the one thing that was like this. The ADR, not everybody got dubbed over in this film, but when it was there, it was very noticeable. And that's one of the things that was kind of disappointing about the film was some of the ADR took me out of the film.
Right.
Like some of that secondary, like that dub over was just like, holy shit, this was for 1990 standards especially. It's like, dude, this is really shit. Like this is terrible. Luckily, it wasn't too much. Mm-hmm. It wasn't too frequent, and you didn't get too much with the wife and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But that was like the one thing that I was just like not digging. But aside from that,
so basically we have George C. Scott. He's a police lieutenant. He uncovers more than he bargained for as his investigation of a series of murders, which have all the hallmarks of the deceased Gemini serial killer that leads him to question the patients of a psychiatric ward. That's basically the plot. So, you have similar murders happening out of nowhere. 15 years later, after Gemini killer has supposedly been dead. And it's the same type of Gemini killing. Murders
so you've got,
are popping up.
You've got the George C. Scott character, and you've got his friend, the Father Dyer character, who Father Dyer and George C. Scott's character, they knew Damien Karras, the priest who was killed during the exorcism.
So sorry spoilers for you guys, but at the end of the first film, Max von Sydow's he's exhausted. He basically Luke Skywalker's himself to death from The Last Jedi just because of the battle and him being so old. He kind of just passes, exerts himself to death, if that even sounds right. So there's really no way they can get this demon out of the girl. So the younger Damien priest basically challenges it and invites it into him. It comes into him, and when it does this, it possesses him. And so to take him out with him, he basically kills himself. He sacrifices himself and throws himself out of the window and then down the steps and dies to try to kill him with the demon. And that's how which I was just like, whoa! I thought this was going to have maybe a happy ending. Whoa, this is fucking nuts. Both priests died, so it's crazy. So that's why it's a crazy ending for the original movie, but go ahead.
Okay, so apparently around that same time, in this continuity of the third film, the Gemini killer, who is played by Brad Dourif, showing us all how he at one point in some timeline could have played the Joker.
Yes, his performance in this movie is Oscar worthy.
It's damn good.
He could, and watch his performance. If you guys watch this movie, like Lady Fat Blood said, watch his performance in this movie and think of the Joker. Just think of if he was cast as the Joker, he would have killed it.
Once upon a time, in some version of Earth. In Hollywood.
And you don't outact Mr. George C. Scott.
I know.
You don't outact, and yet he did. He outacted George C. Scott.
Oh my God! Oh, George C. Scott.
How's that Patton? You don't outact Patton.
I love that crazy motherfucker. Anyway, so in this timeline, in this film, in this universe, around this whole time that this exorcism is going on, the Gemini killer is being executed for his crimes.
Yes.
And at some point, he gets in with this, I guess, demon, who's got like this pack, I guess you could say, and he...
Legion.
Yeah.
There's more than one.
And he, you can assemble from everything that you're seeing and hearing from what Dourif is telling the story. At one point, there's a lot of dialogue, there's a lot of tell, don't show going on, but in this particular subject matter, I don't really know how much they could have shown as opposed to have told. So I kind of had to forgive the lengthy dialogue that they had. Some people are going to have a problem with it because it's very lengthy.
This is not a non-stop action thrill ride.
No. A lot of dialogue. It's very dialogue and performance driven. So you got... He's been executed. He's got this demon. And he's like, hey... you're evil, I'm evil, how about I throw you into this body of this guy and you can continue on because I like your work, man. I like your work. So here's this body, fix it up, do what you will, and you can continue doing your work and I'll help you and blah, blah, blah. So he ends up in the Karras body.
Damien's.
But his brain is mush because he threw himself out a window.
Right.
So... They say he's dead, but he ends up being comatose, and so for 15 years they've been like the Zodiac killer. He's been like trying to like get his body working again.
The Gemini.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the Zodiac. That's a whole other serial killer. Sorry,
Gemini killer.
Close enough. Sorry.
The Brad Dourif character.
Sorry, the Gemini killer. I got my history mixed up there. So he gets his body working again, and that's when
it took 15 years, but he got it working.
Yeah, and that's when the killings start. And you go from there, and it's just again, it's an interesting ride.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting. Again, it's the story, it's the performances,
and he can infect the
he can spread he can
spread.
He's in a hospital, and they're on the bottom of they're in like the bottom floor, and in the upper floors. In the upper floors, you've got the older patients and the sick patients, the patients with dementia, the patients with the brain issues. And because their brains are fucked up, they're easy to manipulate.
Right.
And so the demon, well, not the demon, this Gemini killer can go into these other bodies and take over them, and they're the ones that are going off and doing all of these other murders. And the whole pattern is that the name has to have a name that starts with a K in it, because that's what his father's name started with a K, and he hated his father. His father was a member of the church, but he wanted to like shame him and shame, everything he stood for, and so that's why he keeps, killing who he's killing and how he's killing them. And
if you're hearing squeaking, we're in rocking chairs, so just letting you know.
If you hear any sipping, it's because I'm drinking. Anyway, but yeah, that's the general story. Right. Now you do have some wackadoo moments.
Yes.
You've got a moment where George C. Scott has a dream that he's in heaven, and there's all these people with giant angel wings.
Which, and two of them was Patrick Ewing and Fabio. We were like, what? What is going on?
Yeah, and they're like in a train station waiting for a train to heaven.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird, and it's like, what the fuck's going on? But it's a dream, so it's fine.
Yeah, so it's a dream.
But yeah, it was just, again, we watched it on a whim.
Mm-hmm.
I had been hearing about it for a long time.
I've been wanting to watch it for a long time because of the actors.
Yeah, and
I haven't got around to it.
I had been hearing that it was an overlooked film.
Yeah, hidden gem.
And I had been wanting to see it for a while, and we were just like, fuck it, let's watch it. What are we doing? Yeah. We're not doing anything with our lives right now. Let's fucking watch this thing.
Yeah. But you have some fun moments, like one of the old lady patients crawling on the ceiling. That was fun. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
In terms of effects, crawling on the ceiling away from George C. Scott, but the best part, our favorite part, obviously, is the cutting shears out of nowhere sequence. If you want to explain the setup in that, you have to see it. Yeah, we're not going to do it justice, and it's really fast.
It involves a long, wide take.
Yeah, down a hallway. Shows the lobby from the hallway.
Yeah, with a couple of doors in the frame, and a nurse is checking on patients. There's a cheap jump scare, and then it goes back to the long shot, and then you have to see it. It's just, I laughed my fucking ass off because the way it was framed and how it just kind of...
Because it was sat there forever. So we're like, okay, something has to happen.
Yeah.
But then at some point, it was left there so long, we were like, okay, I guess nothing has to happen. I guess this is the take.
I hope you can find a shot of it. I doubt you can.
I'll try to find a photo at least.
I don't know.
But yeah, out of nowhere, murder happens, and the way it happens cracked us up. We couldn't stop laughing.
Fucking hilarious.
But yeah, it was brilliant. It's one of the best parts in the film.
Aside from George C. Scotting.
Yes.
He had a couple of moments where, he
goes to visit Ed Flanders in the hospital. And when you go visit someone in the hospital, you're just like, hey man, how you doing? How you feeling? Hey, I stopped by. Make sure you're okay. Not George C. Scott.
But they're men.
Yeah.
And they love each other, but they're men, goddammit.
Yeah, can't show emotion. Can't show emotion.
They're tough, hard asses.
So he walks in. The first thing he says is he walks in holding a penguin, stuffed animal.
Stuffed penguin.
He walks in and goes, what is this nonsense? And then they start bickering at each other, but in a loving way. But they're loud. And then the nurse comes in. Is everything okay in here? And he turns and he goes, "We're fine." But yeah, I mean, a little bit of blood, a little bit of gore, not a lot really. Maybe at the end with the other priest.
Yeah, I think that was...
We get a mystery priest that shows up.
Then that was probably one of the things that they added, that the studio added, because it sounds like... Because that's the only Exorcist...
He sensed the challenge like Max von Sydow did in the first Exorcist. He sensed something was coming, and he shows up to fight Brad Dourif, or Gemini Killer.
Yeah.
In battle. But when he shows up, it seems like he's been there before, because the Gemini Killer was the demon was like, you really think he's like, you're not going to win this time? So it seemed like he was there before.
Well, I know they had mentioned him before, and it seemed like he was kind of established in the lore somewhere, but I don't recall like where.
The priest?
The dude,
the
Spawn dude that showed up.
Yeah, the actor that played Cagliostro in Spawn. Yes.
Yeah. He
was the priest in this, and we also Herschel. Yeah. I can't remember his name right now, but the actor that played Herschel in Walking Dead, the TV series, one of my favorite characters from that season, and I was traumatized when he got decapitated and killed by the villain of that season. But yeah, one of the best characters of Walking Dead.
Scott Wilson.
Scott Wilson, yeah. Rest in peace.
So young.
I believe he passed away.
Just recently, in October.
Yeah, rest in peace, Scott Wilson. But you didn't recognize him because he didn't have the beard.
I didn't recognize him at first, and then you got it, and then I saw him smile, and it was like, oh my god, what the fuck? I've never seen him that young. It was fucking hilarious. Anyway.
But very entertaining. The third act was entertaining, but it did feel rushed. But it had to end. Yeah. It had to end.
And maybe that had something to do with the way they had to do the
producers kind of fucked some shit up.
The studio demanded
when we buy the Scream Factory Blu-ray release, we'll watch it again and make sure it was the director's cut we saw. And we'll watch the deleted scenes in the making of the film also.
Oh my god, that was Samuel L. Jackson.
Okay! Yeah, okay. So in the dream sequence when they're in heaven, when everybody's got wings and shit, there was a black actor sitting down, looked like he was blind, and he had one dialogue, but he sounded like he was dubbed.
Probably, like a lot.
And I was like, it was really quick because the camera panned by him, and I was like, was that Samuel L. Jackson? And that was.
Oh my god.
So we have Samuel L. Jackson, Fabio, and Patrick Ewing
and
for some reason.
Larry King for 2 seconds.
Yeah, that was weird.
At the very beginning.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, definitely, I'm sure this is a better, more respected sequel than the second movie. But people seem to know the second movie more than this. Probably because the actress is in that one. That's probably with Linda Blair.
Yeah.
That's probably why. But still, highly recommend you guys check out The Exorcist 3.
Fun fact. Exorcist 2 has a 17% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Ooh.
Just throwing that out there.
17%.
3.7 out of 10 on IMDb. Not that...
Just out of curiosity for our listeners, what does Exorcist 3 have? She's looking it up right now, guys. Here we go.
It's 56% on
What?
6.3 on IMDb.
I think it needs to be a little bit higher than that, but as long as it's way higher than Exorcist 2,
considering how low,
I'm happy.
But yeah, I'm serious. The way I've heard about the Exorcist 2 director, like, he didn't.
Dude, why bother? What's the point, man?
Money. Right? I mean, that's what it seems like. Anyway.
So yeah, overall, highly recommend The Exorcist 3. Definitely well done. There is some slow burn moments, a lot of dialogue, like you said. But in terms of a sequel, I thought it was very well done. You have some weird, goofy moments, but it was just overall very entertaining. And just hearing the banter back and forth between George C. Scott and Brad Dourif. Brad Dourif, wow.
Yeah.
The Brad Dourif, I mean, he's been in Lord of the Rings. He was the voice of Chucky. He's been in so much. But seeing his performance in this movie, I'm like, this dude could have been easily a superstar in major movie. Like, not leading man, because of his look, but in terms of playing bad guy roles in like major motion. I mean, Lord of the Rings is probably the closest.
And that's the thing.
But he's great. And he is fantastic.
You could kind of throw him into the mix of actors like Ron Perlman.
Right.
Where
they've been in B films, but they've done
visually
great work.
They are very unique looking men.
Right.
And that was probably a detriment to their career because they don't have leading man good looks, quote unquote.
Right.
So when you don't have the look, but you have this immense talent,
right,
you still get consistent work. Whether it's in the mainstream or not, because Brad Dourif, he's always been around.
They both still working.
Yes,
constantly working.
They both are always in something, whether it's a guest spot or a TV series of some kind or a film of some kind. It doesn't matter, and they're always going to have work because they have that reputation and they are that damn good at what they do.
Yeah,
so that's probably why. Because he's an odd looking guy. Like he's he's got that face. He's got that unique, very.
Yeah.
But they're so talented that it's like...
Since we're talking about him right now, before we move on, there is a reboot of Chucky. Child's Play is coming.
Yeah.
I really hope they keep him as a voice. I want him to play Chucky forever, because he is Chucky. And if they go with another voice, they done fucked it up. That guy better be really close to sounding like him.
Or they just go in a totally different direction.
Yeah, it could be.
I just don't see them keeping... They don't keep people in films for reboots anymore. It just doesn't...
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen anymore.
Anything else to say, good or bad, about The Exorcist 3? Before we wrap it up?
Not really. I mean, it's just one of those... It was a nice surprise. Again, kind of just like... You hear about it and you just kind of stumble into it not really knowing what to expect. And it was a nice adventure just to be like, oh, what is this environmentally? It's just like sucks you in.
Yeah.
And I like films that can just kind of like immerse you in its atmosphere. I think that's kind of been the key of these films that we've been talking about somewhat, is just the atmosphere when you have a good setup,
Yeah.
Again, on a totally different note, I just now, for the first time in 20 years, started Wolf's Rain, the anime.
Yeah.
And the atmosphere is just like what's just drawing me in when you have like this world that you can just kind of like just sit in and you're there. It's good to have that. Like not every series, not every film has stuff like that. And we've kind of been lucky these last couple of films that we've been watching.
Yeah. So overall, no stinkers today. Well, maybe Halloween for you, but all pretty solid, entertaining sequels we got going, and we have something a little bit different and original in Hereditary. And we had a good old-fashioned fun B flick, which is Q, the Winged Serpent. So, next up, upcoming podcasts, our next one, we are going to shoot for talking about some Marvel properties. We're going to talk about Avengers Infinity War movie.
A year later.
Yeah, sorry about that. I know you guys have been wanting us to review that film for a long time, but we're at least going to talk about it, the good and bad and the ugly from that film. We're going to talk about Deadpool 2. We're going to talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp, and we're probably going to end it with the Marvel Netflix shows and its future. So that's our goal for the next upcoming podcast, so stay tuned.
In other words, rest in peace, Marvel, Netflix.
Well, don't talk about it right now. We're going to talk about it soon. So stay tuned. Like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for hanging out with us, chilling. Remember, always play these podcasts while you're driving to work.
Hopefully we don't put you to sleep.
Cleaning your house. Oh, it's fun. We like hanging out. So thanks again. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you guys next time. And as always, you guys fucking rock. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace! And don't forget to buy Blaine Ventura Band-Aids. When life cuts you and you ain't got time to bleed. That's our sponsor. And I'm sticking with it. All right, see you guys next time. Bye.